Chapter 776. Tuoba Yun's expression changed. Even the side-branch disciples of the Tuoba family could do whatever they wanted in the Sisui realm. Now that he, an inner disciple, had come to a small place like the mythological realm, he was being mocked. It was as if a rich second generation had come to a remote place and was told that he was poor. "Brat, since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being impolite." Tuoba Yun walked towards Yi Chentian. "He's still a kid. Just teach him a lesson." Tuoba Xianxian was the backbone of this operation. She wanted to bring Qin Wentian and Yi Qinghan away without shedding any blood. She didn't want to hurt their relationship. Tuoba Yun didn't dare to go against Tuoba Xuanxuan's will. He didn't draw his sword and walk towards Yi Chentian with his bare hands. When they were 300 meters apart, Yi Chentian suddenly sped up and punched towards Tuoba Yun. Hua! The sound of space shattering reverberated. Tuoba Yun was disdainful. He was from a primal chaos family. How could he be scared by a kid? Just a facade. Tuoba Yun muttered to himself. He clenched his fists and changed his stance quickly. He stabilized his stance and punched out. Bang! The iron fists collided, causing the earth to rupture. Qi rushed into the river of stars, and gravel filled the air, covering the sky and covering the sun. Crack! The sound of bones cracking could be heard. Tuoba Yun groaned and was forced back a few steps by Yi Chentian. "Lie down." Yi Chentian didn't retreat. Instead, he moved forward and kicked Tuoba Yun's head. Tuoba Yun reacted quickly. As he retreated, he used his right elbow to hit Yi Chentian's leg. If this hit, Yi Chentian's leg would be broken. Yi Chentian's eyes shone brightly. He kicked Tuoba Yun's right elbow with his left leg and took the opportunity to withdraw his right leg. He flew backwards and dodged Tuoba Yun's attack. Yi Qinghan frowned. He knew that Yi Chentian was too anxious and missed a good opportunity. Yi Chentian landed on the ground unhappily. He sneered and veins popped out all over his body. More than half of his blood had evolved into dragon blood. The 5 elements flowed through his body and the 5 elements shone brightly. His body was almost transparent. Even the veins on his skin could be seen clearly. 5 elements dragon fist. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Using Windmark, Yi Qinghan's speed was extremely fast. He was almost a replica of Yi Qinghan. He had inherited everything. His right fist punched towards Tuoba Yun's head, and his left fist hooked towards Tuoba Yun's jaw. His moves were smooth and fluid, and he was using a low-grade martial technique. There was no trace of the profoundness of a high god, but he was fast and powerful. Of all the martial arts in the world, only speed could not be defeated, only strength could not be defeated. When one's speed and strength reached the pinnacle, that was the essence of the great Tao. It was more useful than any secret technique or law. Tuoba Yun continued to resist and exchange blows with Yi Qinghan. However, he did not expect that Yi Qinghan's 5 elemental Tao body was inherited from Yi Qinghan. His physical body was extremely strong. At this moment, it was as if he was fighting against Yi Qinghan when he was young. Within the same cultivation level, Yi Qinghan had never been defeated. The only opponent that Yi Qinghan considered worthy was Li Feng. Boom! Crack! Yi Chentian's fist broke Tuoba Yun's right arm. His left fist missed, but Tuoba Yun screamed and his body leaned to the left. Knee strike. Elbow strike. Yi Chentian's every punch and kick shook the spacetime, forcing Tuoba Yun to retreat. Tuoba Yun was sent flying dozens of meters away by a knee strike. But Yi Chentian went against the flow and attacked Tuoba Yun with both his knees and elbows. He was like a killing machine. Every inch of his skin and bones had become the strongest weapon. Boom! Tuoba Yun blocked with both hands, but he could not block Yi Chentian's attack. His chest was almost pierced through. He coughed out blood and flew backward. Bang! Yi Chentian landed on the ground and kicked Tuoba Yun's head. Tuoba Yun was stunned and fell to the ground. His head was bleeding, and his face was covered in scratches. Yi Chentian was about to rush up and beat him up, but Yi Qinghan said, "Come back. I'm going to kill you." Tuoba Yun summoned his divine sword. Sword chi surged from his body as he unleashed his peak combat power. Great nirvana swordsmanship. Swish! Swish! Yi Chentian's reaction was faster. A sharp sword appeared in his hand and pierced through the mountains and rivers. 3 sword rays pierced through the void and hit Tuoba Yun's chest, abdomen, and thigh. Puff! Tuoba Yun did not know how he was defeated. Blood splattered in the void as his body flew backward and fell in front of Tuoba Xianxian. Tuoba Xuanxuan's expression changed slightly. She frowned and scolded, "Trash. You have cultivated for so many years, but you have no combat experience. You can't even use 10% of your strength." The elites of the Tuoba inner clan were indeed talented. They could even be considered super geniuses. However, they did not have much combat experience, unlike the inner sect members of the Kuang Fu. Every one of them had been through hundreds of battles. Yi Chentian was especially talented and was often bullied by more than 30 juniors. His combat experience was definitely not bad. It was no wonder that Tuoba Yun lost to Yi Chentian. Tuoba Yun coughed out blood. He did not even have the chance to use his strength. Otherwise, he would have killed Yi Chentian. "I'll kill him." Cough. Tuoba Yun coughed out blood and swallowed a few divine pills to stop the blood from spurting out. He drew his sword and was about to attack Yi Chentian. "Enough. Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? If he wanted to kill you just now, you wouldn't be able to stand up now. You can't even defeat a kid. Go back and cultivate in the Death Demon prison to gain combat experience," Tuoba Xianxian said coldly. Tuoba Yun did not dare to refute. The Death Demon prison was the secret realm of the Tuoba family. There were many criminals and experts imprisoned there. Most of them were the enemies of the Tuoba family. The people there were ruthless and bloodthirsty. They hated the Tuoba family to the extreme. In order to train the true elites, the Tuoba family would send the younger generation to the Death Demon prison to fight with those people. Every expert killed would give them a considerable amount of resources. However, it was very dangerous. Many elites died there. Those who could walk out alive were all top experts. Tuoba Xianxian was one of them. "Chentian, come back." Yi Qinghan looked at Tuoba Xianxian. He knew that these people were experts among experts. They understood Yi Chentian's advantage and could easily kill him. Yi Chentian curled his lips. He wanted to fight again, but Yi Qinghan asked him to go back. He did not dare to disobey. "Tuoba Su, you're a high-level high god. If you lose, don't find excuses for me. Go train in the Death Demon prison like Tuoba Yun." Tuoba Xianxian said coldly, "Leave this battle to me." Lin Wutian hugged his sword and stood there without any aura. If he did not speak, no one would pay attention to him. He was like a sword-hugging boy. Di Longtian shrugged, showing that he did not care. These people's combat strength was about the same. They all had a chance to fight. Whoosh! Lin Wutian flew through the air and appeared 100 meters away from the city gate. The city wall was surrounded by soldiers. They were all focused on the battle between the high gods. This kind of battle was rare. Lu Zhantian was also watching. He was good at leading troops. In terms of individual combat strength, he was not even comparable to the inner sex children. Chapter 777. Tuoba Su said proudly. As a high god, he was considered one of the best in the Sisui Plain. It was more than enough to deal with Lin Wutian. Make your move. Otherwise, don't say that I'm bullying the weak. Tuoba Su said disdainfully. Lin Wutian remained silent. Since Tuoba Su was going easy on him, he might as well make his move. Sword draw. The sword chi pierced through the void, ignoring time and space, and appeared in front of Tuoba Su. There was only one word to describe it. Fast. Tuoba Su's hair stood on end and his blood froze. He didn't have time to dodge or pull out his sword to block the attack. He could only watch as the sword chi reached his throat. Before the sword chi entered his body, he vomited blood from the impact. Puff! Tuoba Su coughed out blood, and his hair was disheveled. If he couldn't dodge this sword, even his soul might not be able to escape. Whoosh! Tuoba Xuanxuan's figure flashed, and she kicked Tuoba Su away. She was furious. This trash dared to look down on others. Were the children of the Tuoba family all flowers in a greenhouse? They couldn't stand the slightest wind and rain. Bang! Tuoba Su was kicked to the ground by Tuoba Xianxian. His face was smashed into the ground, and his flesh was badly mangled. Sister Xianxian. Tuoba Su's helpless and wronged eyes coupled with his miserable face made him look as pathetic as he could. Scram! You've lost all the face of the Tuoba family. Tuoba Xianxian was furious. She stepped forward and looked at Yi Qinghan. She said coldly, Yi Qinghan, since you don't want to listen to my summons, as long as you can defeat me, I'll take my people and leave. Princess, this person is very strong. We need to work together to deal with him. Otherwise, we're destined to return empty-handed. Zi Chongyan bowed and reminded. A bunch of trash. Scram. Tuoba Xianxian was very powerful. Her aura exploded, and her killing intent soared. She actually sent Zi Chongyan flying. She stepped forward again and stared at Yi Qinghan. Di Longtian was just about to attack when Yi Qinghan stopped him. He shook his head and said, Let my son deal with this person. Yi Qinghan, I want you to do it personally. If you don't do it today, I will bring my men and crush the violent dragon empire, Tuoba Xianxian said coldly. Yi Qinghan frowned. He had to be wary of Zi Chongyan, this old fox. Otherwise, if he launched a sneak attack, Emperor Yi might not be able to defend himself. I'll guard against that half-step lord. Let's end this quickly. I can keep an eye on him for 3 breaths, Emperor Yi said in a deep voice as he stared at Zi Chongyan while holding his guqin. Yi Qinghan nodded. 3 breaths was enough. Ding. With berserk in his hand, Yi Qinghan took a step toward the city walls. With every step he took, his aura grew stronger by 30%. His dragon blood boiled as his strength reached its peak. His dragon godhead began to circulate, and the other 10 godheads also began to circulate. Their energy poured out and converged on berserk. This saber strike could split anyone into 2. Boom. Boom. Step by step, the 2 of them quickly approached each other. Tuoba Xuanxuan's divine power poured out. Her divine power was no less than Yi Qinghan's. It surged and roared as her aura soared into the sky. This was the true elite of the Tuoba family. She was only at mid-level high god level, which was 1 level higher than Yi Qinghan. However, she was much stronger than the so-called elites of the family after going through a life-and-death situation. Ding. Tuoba Xianxian did not waste any time. In a life-and-death battle between enemies, there was no conceit or underestimation. There was only death. Her sword aura soared into the sky as her divine power poured out. It went straight for Yi Qinghan. Sky Splitter. Yi Qinghan drew his saber and slashed. He did not hold back at all. Pinnacle combat strength, pinnacle divine power poured out, pinnacle strength. Everything was adjusted to the peak. With such an attack, it was impossible for him to unleash more than 5 consecutive moves. If he could not defeat Tuoba Xianxian in 5 moves, he would definitely lose. Boom. The energy was so strong that it could destroy the heavens and the earth. The ground outside Yuyang Pass collapsed and was completely destroyed. Whoosh! Stone chips flew everywhere and filled the sky. The 2 of them were drowned in the fog. Boom! Tuoba Xuanxuan's body emitted a divine light that protected her body. A huge defensive barrier formed a spherical shape and slammed towards craziness with the divine sword. Tsing, tsing, tsing! Tuoba Xuanxuan's vital energy and blood surged in the opposite direction. Blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. She was pushed back a few hundred meters by Yi Qinghan's saber. Craziness strike. Fall of the heavens. Yi Qinghan's veins popped out. He raised his saber and slashed again. His body soared into the sky and descended from the sky. He wanted to destroy the mountains and rivers. Boom! Tuoba Xianxian crushed the ground a few hundred meters away and stabilized her body. Her body shook and she soared into the sky. She was actually fighting against Yi Qinghan. Bang! Yi Qinghan's craziness collided with the tip of her sword again. The ear-piercing sound caused the soldiers on the city wall to cough out blood. Lu Zhantian quickly ordered people to activate the defensive array to reduce the pain. Inch strike. Yi Qinghan twisted his waist in the air. He lowered his right hand and pressed Tuoba Xianxian to the ground. Tuoba Xianxian had no choice but to resist. Her speed was not as fast as Yi Qinghan and her rhythm was controlled by him. Her body was like a kite with a broken string as she smashed towards the ground. Hua! The ground cracked as Tuoba Xianxian was smashed into the ground. Even the defensive barrier was shattered. Impossible! Tuoba Xianxian wanted to control the battle, but she could not control Yi Qinghan. Her speed was not as good as his, and her strength was not as good as his. She could only defend passively. Revolving strike. Yi Qinghan did not have time to care about her. His body spun at high speed and slashed towards Tuoba Xianxian, who was in the deep pit. Hua! This slash directly tore the ground outside the Yuyang Pass. It was as if it was going to cut the entire plain in half. Boom! Tuoba Xianxian held her sword with both hands and tried to block Zhongquang. However, she was pushed back by the powerful force and crashed into the deep pit. Without the defensive barrier, she could only resist with her body. She coughed out blood and fell heavily into the pit. Pooh! Tuoba Xianxian was in disbelief. She struggled to stand up, but she realized that Yi Qinghan had already released his fourth slash. Star-breaking sword. Tuoba Xianxian exploded for the first time. She took the initiative to attack and wanted to salvage the situation. Boom! The sword in her hand suddenly shattered into thousands of pieces and rushed towards Yi Qinghan like lightning. If all the sword fragments hit Yi Qinghan, it would be enough to shatter his body and godhead. These fragments only looked sharp, but when they hit someone, they would automatically explode and create a huge impact. It was rumored that they could even shatter a large middle plane. Hua! Yi Qinghan swung his blade. This slash broke through space and time. Blade chi and the sword fragments collided and exploded. The fireworks shot up to the 9 heavens and illuminated thousands of miles. The fifth slash. Yi Qinghan gave it his all. If he couldn't kill Tuoba Xianxian with this slash, he wouldn't have any chance to counterattack. Boom! Yi Qinghan stomped the ground and slashed towards Tuoba Xianxian like a sharp sword. Tuoba Xianxian didn't expect that her best move couldn't hurt Yi Qinghan. She couldn't help but be shocked. She didn't know that she had also forced Yi Qinghan to the end of the line. These 5 slashes had exhausted all of his godhead and all 11 of his godhead were gone. Boom! Yi Qinghan was as fast as lightning and didn't give her any chance to dodge. She had to take it head-on or die. Ka! The crisp sound of a sword breaking pierced everyone's eardrums. Tuoba Xianxian took out her divine sword again, but before she could even unsheath it, the scabbard was broken. Pooh! Tuoba Xianxian was directly knocked unconscious and flew back 1,000 meters. She crashed into the ground and was barely breathing. She no longer had the strength to resist. 5 slashes, only 5 slashes. Yi Qinghan fell to the ground and no longer had any strength. His face was pale and he hurriedly took out a large amount of godhead pills and elixirs from his universe ring. He only wanted to quickly recover his strength, but Zi Chongyun wouldn't give him the chance. Chapter 778. Zi Chongyun rose up violently and blasted his palm towards Yi Qinghan with heavenly might. 1. Emperor Yi, who was staring at Zi Chongyun, almost broke his zither strings as he mobilized his terrifying soul to attack Zi Chongyun. Emperor Ye's strongest attack ignored physical defense as the zither music directly slammed into Zi Chongyun's mind. Boom! Zi Chongyun had a splitting headache. Before his palm hit Yi Qinghan, he lost control of himself. He held his head with both hands and screamed, falling from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The war drums rang and the spirits roared. The army roared as their battle intent soared. Di Longtian and the other two pulled out their swords to protect Yi Qinghan as they stared at Tuoba Yun and the others. If they dared to move, Di Longtian would definitely kill them all without hesitation. Wung wung wung. The zither music tore through time and space as it struck the source. Zi Chongyun was temporarily pushed back a few hundred meters. Emperor Yi did not give him any chance and began to launch an even stronger soul attack, delaying him for another 3 breaths of time. Although the time was short, it was extremely important to Yi Qinghan. The divine elixir melted as soon as it entered his mouth, turning into divine power that rushed into his godhead. He swallowed dozens of recovery pills. These were rank 15 divine elixirs, but they still could not fill up his 11 godheads. However, it was more than enough to protect himself. Yi Qinghan crushed more than a dozen pieces of supreme-grade divine crystals and forcefully absorbed their divine power. It flowed through his limbs and bones, and he recovered 80% of his strength. He opened his eyes and said to Emperor Yi, "Son, come back." Emperor Yi did not hesitate and immediately retreated. Zi Chongyun did not know that Emperor Ye's soul attack was so powerful. He was careless and made mistakes, causing him to be flustered. At this moment, his face was ashen as he knew that he had failed this mission. Even an expert like Tuoba Xianxian had died here. Young masters, quickly check on Princess Xian. Zi Chongyun was shocked. If Tuoba Xianxian died here, then there was no need for him to return to the Tuoba family. Even if he returned, he would be buried with her. After all, Tuoba Xuanxuan's status was too high. Tuoba Xuanxuan's fingertips moved slightly as she struggled to get up. One had to admit that her strength was terrifying as she could still stand after exhausting all of Yi Qinghan's energy. Yi Qinghan stared at Tuoba Xianxian with a serious expression. Tuoba Xianxian was definitely stronger than him, but she lacked battle experience. She was led by Yi Qinghan, which led to her using her weakness to fight against Yi Qinghan's strength. It would be terrifying if she didn't lose. Sister Xianxian. Tuoba Yun and the others saw the flames in Tuoba Xuanxuan's eyes and the terrifying killing intent she was emitting. They felt a chill in their hearts and knew that she was really angry. Tuoba Xianxian coldly glanced at Tuoba Yun and the other two and said, "Step back, this is none of your business." Yi Qinghan frowned. Could it be that this Tuoba Xianxian could continue to fight? A white jade pill appeared in Tuoba Xuanxuan's hand and she swallowed it. Her divine power quickly recovered and in less than 3 breaths of time, she was back to her peak state. Her eyes were cold as she said hoarsely, "You are the first person to force me to this point. You have more battle experience than me and can control the battle." Yi Qinghan nodded. This woman's strength was probably even more terrifying than Renhuang Ye's. His strength against hers was only a slight advantage. If she was allowed to take the initiative, the outcome of the battle would be uncertain. "You can't win against me. You couldn't win against me before and you can't win against me now. Retreat." Yi Qinghan summoned the 10 direction seal. Even if he had to use his trump card, he would force this woman away. 10 direction seal. The 10 direction seal of the sorcerer tribe. Master God weapon. You are indeed from the sorcerer tribe. Tuoba Xianxian immediately recognized the 10 direction seal in Yi Qinghan's hand and said in a deep voice. Yi Qinghan could not confirm whether this was a Master God weapon or not and could not unleash the might of a Master God. Since Tuoba Xianxian said that it was a Master God weapon, there must be a reason for it. "I obtained the 10 direction seal by accident. I am not from the sorcerer tribe, Yi Qinghan said indifferently. What a joke. Do you think that my Tuoba family's primal chaos inheritance is fake? The 10 direction seal can only be activated through the 5 element. It can only unleash the might of a master god with the origin of the sorcerer tribe. You are not from the sorcerer tribe, how can you use the 10 direction seal? Tuoba Xianxian asked in disdain. Yi Qinghan's eyes lit up. He did not know that the 10 direction seal had such a secret. No wonder he could not unleash his peak strength. It was because he did not know how to use it. Tuoba Xianxian did not think too much about it and voiced her doubts. She also told Yi Qinghan how to use the 10 direction seal. At this moment, she understood that Yi Qinghan had the 10 direction seal. It was impossible for her to win. If they continued fighting, she would lose even more miserably unless she also had a master god weapon. However, the Tuoba family only had one master god weapon. It was the most precious treasure of the family. Unless the family was facing a life and death situation, they would not use it. Yi Qinghan, this small plane is not suitable for true experts to develop, especially people like you. If you want to become stronger, you have to go to the Sisui plane. If you are interested, you can cooperate with my Tuoba family. Tuoba Xianxian stared at Yi Qinghan and said in a deep voice, How can we cooperate? I am not good at kneeling and becoming a slave. I will not do that. Yi Qinghan replied indifferently. You don't have to kneel and become a slave. My Tuoba family will help you conquer a city in the Sisui plain. You have to promise me one thing. Seeing Yi Qinghan's attitude, Tuoba Xianxian thought that there was hope. She went straight to the point. What is it? Yi Qinghan raised his brows and asked. Hand him over to my Tuoba family. Tuoba Xianxian stared at Yi Qinghan and said expectantly. Impossible. You can leave. I will go to the Sisui plain sooner or later. I can conquer a city by myself. Yi Qinghan said calmly. This condition will always be valid. When you reach the Sisui plain, you will understand that there is no place without a powerful family behind you. Tuoba Xianxian smiled confidently. She believed that Yi Qinghan would definitely agree. With a flick of her finger, she sent out a transmission talisman. Yi Qinghan stretched out his hand and caught the transmission talisman. There was no need to fight to the death with her now. If she attracted a super expert, he would not be able to handle it with his current strength. When you reach the Sisui plain, you can contact me. After Tuoba Xianxian finished speaking, she turned to look at Emperor Yi. Her eyes were like limpid autumn water, without any ripples. Then, she left with the 4 people. Yi Qinghan remained silent. However, the other 3 juniors were somewhat dissatisfied. They felt that the 4 of them should have stayed. Father, why did you let them go? They will bring stronger people sooner or later. I think that woman's identity is not ordinary. We should capture her and make her a hostage. Yi Chentian suggested. I don't have the confidence to defeat her again. She's stronger than any of us. The only thing she lacks is the experience of fighting with me. After this battle, I'm afraid that her strength will improve even more. Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and said in a deep voice. At this moment, everyone, including Emperor Yi, was shocked. In their eyes, Yi Qinghan was undefeatable. However, today, when facing a mid-level high godwoman, he actually did not have the confidence to win. It was clear how strong Tuoba Xianxian was. She is on the same level as Li Feng. If you see her in the future, avoid her. Don't provoke her. Yi Qinghan warned in a deep voice. Chapter 779. After Yi Qinghan defeated Tuoba Xianxian, the Tuoba family didn't send anyone else. Zi Chongyun also became more well-behaved. The insane sect had a period of peace. The people of the inner sect returned one by one. After this experience, almost all of them broke through. However, Mu Yu Tianchen and Nangong Qingyuan never returned. Even their life tablets in the inner sect were broken. Yi Qinghan looked at the shattered life tablets, his fingers trembling. He ordered people to investigate the cause of their death. However, it was as if the two of them had evaporated into thin air, disappearing into a middle realm. There were no experts there, so logically speaking, no one should have been able to kill the couple. However, the two of them had indeed disappeared from this middle realm. After investigating for a long time, they couldn't find the cause. They could only give up temporarily. Gu Qingyu condensed 3 godhoods. This experience was very fruitful. Not only did Xian Yanxue and Shui go out to train, but they also came back with a son. Before returning to the evil branch, they ran to the insane sect to report the good news. The people of the insane sect teased them, but they gave them a lot of red packets. They gave out supreme-grade divine pills, supreme-grade divine weapons, and defensive divine clothes. Yi Qinghan even personally made a protective divine cloth. It was enough to resist the attacks of the god. As the body grew, the clothes would also change shape. It was enough to protect him for a lifetime. The 3-year agreement was getting closer and closer. Yi Qinghan came to the clear moon plain again. This time, no one dared to stop him. Sacred Qilin knew that Yi Qinghan was coming, but he didn't come out. He just ordered the sect not to provoke the madman. Yi Qinghan went straight to the Great Path Divine Sect. Li Sha and Wenjing came to welcome him personally. Yi Qinghan went straight to the point and asked to comprehend the Great Path of Karma. Li Sha and Wenjing didn't refuse. If it wasn't for Yi Qinghan, they wouldn't be able to comprehend the Great Path of Karma. They didn't dare to refuse Yi Qinghan's request. He could survive the siege of 3 masters. This kind of person's luck was heaven-defying. Offending him wouldn't end well. The Great Path of Karma boundary stone was moved to the forbidden area in the back mountain. It coexisted with the Order Great Path. Yi Qinghan came to the back mountain's forbidden grounds and sat cross-legged on the ground as he began to comprehend the great Tao of karma. Everything in the world has karma. If there is a cause, there must be an effect. If there is an effect, there must be a cause. Everything has its own conclusion. Today's cause, tomorrow's effect. As the saying goes, if you look up at the sky, who will the heavens spare? The more Yi Qinghan comprehended the great Tao of karma, the more shocked he became. He felt as if there was a pair of giant hands in the sky pushing the trajectory of history, and all of his actions were under the control of the other party. Not only him, but even the actions of the high and mighty primal chaos sorcerer god, and the great demonic god could not escape the restraints of that pair of giant hands. The runes were difficult to understand, but Yi Qinghan was able to comprehend them so easily. Golden runes rushed into his sea of consciousness like tadpoles. Each rune represented a profound mystery, and they could be turned into divine weapons to attack from 10,000 miles away. At this moment, his realm was much stronger than before. He could understand the attack and defense methods of the Great Tao, and he also understood some of the Order Great Tao. In the forbidden area of the back mountain, space-time was distorted and the order of all things was changed. All of this happened with a single thought from Yi Qinghan. Li Sha and Wenjing looked at the sky above the forbidden area of the back mountain. The barrier that they had set up together could not stop the phenomenon. Hiss! The two of them sucked in a breath of cold air and were extremely shocked. This guy's talent is too shocking. To comprehend the great Tao so easily, Wenjing said in surprise. Living in this era and encountering such a person is really a blow to one's Tao heart. This kind of existence is simply the best. I'm looking forward to when he becomes an overgod. Who knows, he might lead us to the Chaos Era. A strange look appeared in Li Sha's eyes. The Chaos Era was a legend, but it was not impossible to return to the Chaos Era. They did not know, but existences like the Tuoba family knew a sentence that was passed down in the Chaos Era. Sisui Realm, Tuoba family's main hall. The 5 of them were actually half-step overgods, and the only woman was Tuoba Xianxian. A white-haired old man sat on the main seat. It was unknown how long he had lived and how many eras. His face was full of wrinkles, containing the rings of history. He was the current head of the Tuoba family, Tuoba Jiuxiao. He was in existence of the same era as Nine Nether, and his combat strength was probably not inferior to Nine Nethers. Grandfather, why do you have to capture Qin Wentian? Isn't it good to cooperate with Yi Qinghan? I believe he will come back to find me, Tuoba Xianxian asked respectfully. Because Qin Wentian has one of the 10 great chaos physique. During the end of the chaos era, there was a sentence that was passed down. The 10 great chaos physiques are manifested, yin and yang are reversed, the 10 directions return, the chaos reappears, and the clan prospers. Tuoba Jiuxiao stroked his beard, and his turbid eyes were shining. Tuoba Xianxian did not understand what the clan prospers meant, and neither did the other 4 old men. This sentence means that when the 10 great chaos physiques all appear, the shattered chaos universe will be reunited, and the chaos era will reappear. Every family that has the 10 great chaos physiques will begin to prosper. In other words, whoever has the chaos physiques will own the world. Tuoba Jiuxiao said in a deep voice. What? The chaos era can reappear? Tuoba Xianxian was shocked. The chaos plane was already fragmented, turning into countless medium planes and small planes. There were even a few large planes. If they were to reunite, how vast would the universe be? The gravity of the plane would probably make it impossible for the gods to fly. This is just a legend, a prophecy. The person who made the prophecy is the second-generation sorcerer god of the sorcerer tribe, so it's highly credible. There have been people with the chaos physiques in history, and they even cultivated to the level of overgod and entered the upper plane. However, the other chaos physiques have never appeared, and they could only slowly die in the long river of history. Now that there's another one, even if the other chaos physiques don't appear, she can become the pillar of the Tuoba family, and let the Tuoba family regain its glory, Tuoba Jiuxiao explained. Big brother, doesn't that mean we have to hold Qin Wentian in our hands? Tuoba Quangjuan asked in a deep voice. Yes, go and summon him personally. Tell him that I want to see him. If he refuses, kill him on the spot and bring Qin Wentian back, Tuoba Jiuxiao said calmly. The half-step overgods of the Tuoba family were not easy to deal with. The Tuoba family's secret techniques had never been broken. Most of them were divine skills from the Chaos era, and they had no problem killing those of a higher level, let alone dealing with the younger generation. It could be seen from Tuoba Xuanxuan's body that she could resist Yi Qinghan without using any divine skills. It could be seen that the true elites of the Tuoba family were very powerful. Grandfather, I think Yi Qinghan is very talented. Although I underestimated him, he can defeat me, which means that he can still be nurtured. Why don't we bring him to the family and nurture him? He might be of use to me. With his help, I'm confident that I can bring glory to the Tuoba family. Tuoba Xuanxuan's eyes glinted as she bowed and said. Chapter 780. In the Great Divine Sect, Yi Qinghan had been in seclusion, comprehending the mysteries of the Great Tao. After 3 months, he had condensed the 12th godhood, the Karma godhood. It had become deep and unfathomable, but his eyes could see through all illusions. All obstacles could no longer restrain his eyes. After condensing the 12th godhood, he began to cultivate the Great Tao's mysteries. The Great Tao's attack power was the strongest, and it could hurt people without them noticing. In addition to the Great Tao of Order and the Great Tao of Karma, there were also some stone tablets created by experts that recorded the mysteries of other Great Tao. Yi Qinghan comprehended them eagerly, and without knowing the passage of time, he cultivated bitterly for half a year. In the Great Divine Sect, Qin Chuxing had been cultivating crazily. He wanted Yi Qinghan to see his talent and take him away to reunite with his sister. The divine sect took special care of him and provided him with sufficient resources. The two supreme elders would occasionally give him pointers, which made Meng Xinghuan and Feng Yuesheng envious. If he wasn't a peerless genius, the two supreme elders wouldn't be interested in giving pointers. Little Z was also a blessing in disguise. Although her divine body was destroyed once, because of Yi Qinghan, she received special care from the divine sect. In just 2 short years, she was promoted to a mid-god priest. At this moment, she already saw Qin Chuxing as her family. The divine crystals in her hands were enough for her to live for a long time. There was no need for her to work as a maid to earn money. Hua Xinyang was also a blessing in disguise. She was implicated by Yi Qinghan and was beaten and humiliated. Now, she was like a fish in water in the great divine sect, and was highly sought after by the inner sect disciples. She relied on her wisdom to govern the outer sect disciples of the great divine sect. Through operations, she started to do business and earned more divine crystals than when she was adventuring. Soon, she earned her first bucket of gold, 1,000,000 high-grade divine crystals. Finally, she established the Xinyang Trading Company with Deyuan City as the foundation and developed steadily. Now, even Meng Xinghuan and Feng Yuesheng were interested in the Fourth Mother Trading Company and became her backer, allowing the Fourth Mother Trading Company to compete with the God's Treasure Pavilion in Deyuan City. Ever since Yi Qinghan attacked the God's Treasures Pavilion, they had been unable to recover from the setback. Many forces took the opportunity to stand firm in the market and fought against the God's Treasures Pavilion to compete for the market. Heroes emerge from troubled times. Fourth Mother saw the opportunity and began to lobby the businessmen in the big cities, hoping to establish a business union. This kind of organization had never appeared before in the cultivator era. Her idea was simply unprecedented. The main purpose of the business union was to unite and protect themselves. This was to ensure that they would not be bullied by powerful factions. They could also cooperate with each other in business. If one wanted to join the business union, they had to pay a certain amount of money. Those who violated the rules of the business union would be kicked out of the union. Behind Hua Xinyang stood the Great Path Divine Sect and the killing god lunatic, Yi Qinghan. If she was willing to establish the business union, who would refuse to join? After joining the business union, one would not have to worry about being suppressed by the God's Treasures Pavilion or being bullied by powerful factions. If anyone dared to bully them, it would be the same as bullying Hua Xinyang. If they offended Hua Xinyang, Meng Xinghuan and Feng Yuesheng would be able to decide the outcome of the battle. Not to mention, they had the Great Path Divine Sect, and even Yi Qinghan behind them. The business union was quickly promoted and spread throughout the Clear Moon realm. From small shops in the city to huge businesses, all of them joined the business union. Hua Xinyang was the first president, while Meng Xinghuan and Feng Yuesheng became elders. They did not have to pay any price. As long as they could ensure the safety of the business union members, they would be able to get 1/1000th of the total income of these businesses every year. After Yi Qinghan came out of seclusion, he was persuaded by Hua Xinyang to become an honorary elder of the business union. Just by being an honorary elder, he would be able to get 1/100th of the income of the business union members' shops. 1/100th was not much, but when countless shops were gathered together, it was a huge number. With Yi Qinghan joining the business union quickly entered other realms and recruited countless experts. Everyone cooperated with each other and their businesses grew bigger and bigger. Especially the Xinyang Business Union, it had developed into an existence that could compete with the God's Treasures Pavilion in just a year. Yi Qinghan calculated the time. There were less than 2 months left before the arranged battle with Li Feng. He took little Z and Qin Chusch and rushed towards the mythical realm. With 1 adult and 1 child, Yi Qinghan spent more than a month to cross 2 realms and landed in the territory of the violent Dragon Empire. The world here was fundamentally different from the Clear Moon realm. There was no war or oppression. Little Z looked at the prosperous, violent dragon empire and was stunned. It was as if she had seen a fairyland. There is also a rescue station? Little Z stuck out her tongue and felt a little unbelievable. What a beautiful realm! Is this your territory? Qin Chusch asked excitedly. Yi Qinghan nodded slightly and took Qin Chusch and Little Z to the southern mountain pass. When they arrived at the Crazy Manor, they found out that Li Feng had not appeared. There were only 3 or 4 days left before the 3-year agreement. Li Feng should have been here long ago. After making arrangements for Little Z and Chusch, Yi Qinghan calmly waited for Li Feng. Half a month had passed, and Li Feng still had not returned. Yi Qinghan could not help but wonder. Li Feng could not be dead, and it was impossible for him to play tricks on him. Why did he stay to challenge but not appear? Another half a month passed, and Li Feng still did not appear. Instead, the Tuoba family's special envoy, Tuoba Quangjuan, arrived. This powerful half-step lord was not overbearing. Instead, he politely asked Lu Zhantian to inform Yi Qinghan to come and discuss matters. Perhaps Tuoba Xuanxuan's request was effective, but the Tuoba family decided to use a conciliatory strategy to subdue Yi Qinghan and make him their slave. That was why Tuoba Quangjuan was so polite. Yi Qinghan frowned when he learned that the Tuoba family had sent an elder, a half-step lord. He thought to himself, they still haven't given up? The half-step lord in their family is no joke. With my current combat strength, there's no way I can defeat him. I'll go and see what exactly they want. After informing the people in the inner sect to be prepared for battle, Yi Qinghan flew to Yeyang Pass. He looked at Tuoba Quangjuan and bowed slightly. Greetings, Senior. What brings you here, Senior? Ha ha, you're indeed a dragon among men. No wonder Xianxian has nothing but praise for you, Tuoba Quangjuan laughed loudly. I'm the 3rd elder of the Tuoba family, Tuoba Quangjuan. I'm here on the orders of the family leader to summon you. He hopes that you'll make a trip to the Sisui realm. The Tuoba family will definitely treat you with respect. I wonder if you'll do us the honor, fellow Yi? Yi Qinghan had investigated the Sisui realm and the Tuoba family over the years. They were giants, so it was best not to offend them if possible. As long as I go alone? Yi Qinghan asked calmly in return. What he meant was that he could go there without bringing him along. Of course. If fellow Yi would like to bring you and your wife along, the Tuoba family will naturally welcome you with open arms, Tuoba Quangjuan said readily. Yi Qinghan fell silent. He did not know what the Tuoba family was up to. There was absolutely no need for such a powerful family to play dumb with him. They could just attack him directly. Now, they were trying to be conciliatory. Were they trying to be friendly? Was there a need for that? All right, I'll go alone, Yi Qinghan replied readily. Tuoba Quangjuan was stunned. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to agree so readily. He thought to himself, isn't he afraid that it's a trap? However, Yi Qinghan believed that nothing ventured, nothing gained. He would have to go to the Sisui realm sooner or later. If he could form an alliance with the Tuoba family as equals, that would be the best outcome. If that did not work, he would have to find another way. Chapter 781. Yi Qinghan briefed Lu Zhantian on some matters and left the mythical realm with Tuoba Quangjuan. They crossed dozens of realms in a row without leaving Tuoba Quangjuan behind. Tuoba Quangjuan was shocked. He felt as though Yi Qinghan's godly power was inexhaustible. Even his own godly power was starting to run out. Yet, Yi Qinghan was able to keep up with him at a leisurely pace. His godly power was still abundant. How many godheads does he actually have? I'm afraid the quality of his godhead is beyond my imagination. Tuoba Quangjuan was getting more and more shocked. His attitude toward Yi Qinghan became more and more cautious. Yi Qinghan had 12 godheads. Each godhead had more internal space than other godheads of the same level. Although he was an exalted god, the divine power stored in his godhead was comparable to that of a half-step lord. After traveling for 3 months and crossing hundreds of realms, Tuoba Kwangjuan finally could not take it anymore. Panting, he stopped and looked at Yi Qinghan in a daze. He sighed and said, "I'm getting old. Let's rest for a while." "Old sir, you're still strong despite your age. You make a young man like me feel ashamed. I'm exhausted too. Let's rest for a while," Yi Qinghan said calmly. Tuoba Kwangjuan rolled his eyes. Yi Qinghan did not look tired at all. He clearly still had energy left. The divine bird stared at Tuoba Kwangjuan from inside Yi Qinghan's body and said wretchedly, "Do you want to get rid of this old thing? It won't be easy. There's no need to make enemies for now. Zi Chongyun is just a dog of the Tuoba family. I believe they'll give up on Zi Chongyun," Yi Qinghan replied through voice transmission. The divine bird did not say anything. It was easy to kill Tuoba Kwangjuan. That would be equivalent to becoming an enemy of the Tuoba family. Yi Qinghan could escape, but the mythical realm could not. There was no need to let the mythical realm and Tuoba Kwangjuan die together. Tuoba Kwangjuan sat cross-legged and rested for a while. Then, he swallowed several divine pellets and absorbed the divine qi. Soon, his divine power was replenished. He had to admit that the Tuoba family was indeed powerful. Yi Qinghan also swallowed a large number of divine pellets to maintain his divine power. He did not use the primal chaos divine origin in his hands, it was used to protect his life. It would definitely be useful in the future. The two of them continued to climb up. Along the way, the two of them chatted quite a bit. Yi Qinghan also had a general understanding of the sea water level. In the Sisui realm, there were many powerful people. High gods were everywhere, and mid-gods were as common as dogs. The Tuoba family had a strong foundation, and they dominated the realm. With a strong foundation, even the most powerful forces had to give them some face. Although Tuoba Xianxian was one of the best in the younger generation, it was difficult for her to enter the top 30, which shocked Yi Qinghan. With Tuoba Xuanxuan's combat strength, if she fully utilized her foundation, Yi Qinghan would have to pay a heavy price even if he could win. Perhaps both of them would suffer great losses. With her combat strength, she could not even enter the top 30 among the younger generation. How strong were those monsters? To be honest, the Tuoba family has been around for too long. The younger generation has already decayed. Now we are relying on Xianxian alone. We need a new bloodline to awaken the fighting spirit of our children, and you are the most suitable candidate. This is also the reason why my family chose to cooperate with you. Tuoba Kwangjuan was walking in the air. He was already approaching the Sisui realm, but he had slowed down a lot. Me? You think too highly of me. Yi Qinghan shook his head. He had no interest in tangling with the younger generation of the Tuoba family. Only Tuoba Xianxian could be his opponent. Tuoba Kwangjuan smiled and said, "The younger generation of the Tuoba family does not dare to fight the true experts of the Sisui realm. Their Dao heart has already collapsed. Only an outsider can awaken the pride in their hearts, the glory of the chaos inheritance." "You want me to be your stepping stone?" Yi Qinghan sneered. This was not a good job. No, the specific situation can only be decided after a discussion with the family leader. The Sisui realm is right in front of us. We can directly teleport to the Tuoba family through the realm gate. There is no need to travel anymore. Tuoba Kwangjuan's robe fluttered as he pointed ahead. The realm river spanned thousands of miles, and the space-time turbulence shattered everything. Experts could not cross it at all. The two of them landed beside the realm river. Tuoba Kwangjuan took out a space shuttle from his yin and yang ring. Yi Qinghan had never seen such a thing before. It looked like a spaceship from the mechanical civilization, but there were some differences. This is called a space shuttle. It's specially used to cross the Realm River. This shuttle can withstand space-time turbulence. This shuttle costs 100,000 supreme-grade divine crystals. Tuoba Kwangjuan opened the hatch and gestured for Yi Qinghan to enter the shuttle. Yi Qinghan stepped into the shuttle and discovered that only 3 to 5 humans could fit inside. The internal operating system was different from that of the mechanical civilization's spaceship. This type of shuttle relied entirely on supreme-grade divine crystals to operate. Its material was special and could withstand a half-step lord's attack. However, this shuttle could only travel short distances. Otherwise, it could be used as a means of transportation. Tuoba Kwangjuan quickly entered the cloud shuttle and sealed the hatch. He cast a restrictive spell to lock the hatch completely. A slot was filled with supreme-grade divine crystals. There were at least 100 supreme-grade divine crystals. As soon as the starter was pressed, the supreme-grade divine crystals turned into nothingness. The shuttle charged into the Realm River like a sword. Its powerful tearing force could even shatter the space-time turbulence. Whoosh! The shuttle turned into a sharp arrow and charged to the other side of the Realm River. In less than the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Tuoba Kwangjuan had used up 300 supreme-grade divine crystals. Ordinary people could not afford that at all. Yi Qinghan got off the shuttle and discovered that the outer layer of the shuttle was not affected at all. He wondered what material it was made of and what kind of person could build such a shuttle to withstand such violent space-time turbulence. "Where can I buy a shuttle like this?" Yi Qinghan asked curiously. "The Divine Weapons Sect. However, this shuttle is rarely sold to the public. Not only that, but there's a limited number of shuttles made each year. If you want to buy one, you'll have to meet someone you know and wait in line. My Tuoba family has no advantage at all. I spent 100 years just to buy this shuttle." Tuoba Kwangjuan liked the shuttle very much, so he put it away casually. "Can this shuttle be used as a means of transportation?" Yi Qinghan was very curious. If it could travel through the space-time turbulence, it should be able to travel through space as well. "Yes, but it consumes too many supreme-grade divine crystals. There's no need to use it normally. You saw it just now. 300 supreme-grade divine crystals for an incense stick's worth of time. There aren't many supreme-grade divine crystals in the first place, so I won't casually use it as a means of transportation." Tuoba Kwangjuan explained. Yi Qinghan was interested. This shuttle was best used for escaping. It could tear through space-time in an instant. Its speed would be much faster than a human's. "Where is the Divine Weapons Sect? Senior, can you introduce me to them? I want to buy a shuttle. It's not a problem to barter with other items." Yi Qinghan stared at Tuoba Kwangjuan. With the shuttle, if there was a dispute after entering the Tuoba family, they would have a chance to escape. Chapter 782. Tuoba Kwangjuan did not want to complicate matters, but he could not argue with Yi Qinghan. All he could do was agree to bring Yi Qinghan to the Divine Instrument Sect. Sisui realm was so vast that even a half-step lord would need decades or even centuries to traverse Sisui realm. Therefore, space gate dimensional portals were very common here. There would be a space gate in every major city. The Divine Instrument Sect was located in Divine Fire City. There was a natural volcano there with extremely high temperatures, equivalent to a top-rank 15 divine fire. The Divine Instrument Sect used this place to smelt the materials for the shuttles. Each shuttles would take decades or even centuries to be built. After all, the natural fire was not controlled by the craftsman. The smelting of the materials would take 100 times longer than the smelting of materials using the fire origin. The Divine Instrument Sect had been around for millions of years, but the total number of shuttles they had made was no more than 100,000. Oriental City is up ahead. It's the Dongfang clan's territory. Let's borrow the space gate. Tuoba Kwangjuan had no choice but to bring Yi Qinghan straight to Oriental City. Along the way, he saw many high gods shuttling back and forth. There were as many experts as there were clouds. This place was indeed much more powerful than the mythical plane. If the Sisui Plain was a city, then the mythical plane was at most a remote and desolate place. The Oriental city was vast and majestic. Chaotic aura permeated the air. The city walls towered into the clouds and stretched for tens of thousands of miles. There was no end to them. It was awe-inspiring. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. The more powerful he was, the more insignificant he felt. The creatures of the chaotic era were just too incredible. How much manpower and resources would it take to build a city like this? Moreover, it had been passed down for so long. It was impossible for the people of today to build a city like this. The Dongfang clan is also a descendant of the chaotic era. A city like this is nothing. There are still many ancient buildings in the Sisui realm that have been preserved to this day. Those buildings are the real deal. Even I feel powerless when I see them. There's no way I can break through their defenses. I'm afraid even lords would find it difficult to break through those cities with their formations fully activated. Tuoba Quangyuan sighed. Yi Qinghan nodded. The beings of the primal chaos era were simply too strong. Godfire City is one of the cities with the strongest defenses in the current era. It's a city of machines built by the artifact sect from the primal chaos era using chaos materials. I've heard that when the conditions permit, the city can be used as a weapon of war. It can even kill overgods. However, no one has ever seen anything like it. Perhaps the artifact sect has lost the ability to control the city, or perhaps the resources required to activate Godfire City are too much for the artifact sect to bear. Perhaps we've never been able to witness such a spectacular sight, Tuoba Quangyuan said. Yi Qinghan had once flipped through the secret history of primal chaos. There was no mention of Dongfang City in the book. It could be seen that Dongfang City was not considered a major city in the primal chaos era. However, the artifact sect did mention it. For a sect to be recorded by the second sorcerer god, it was a testament to its strength. Back in the day, the artifact sect had a true fire god who belonged to the sorcerer tribe. The divine weapons forged by the fire overgod could cut through the sun, moon, and stars, and destroy the souls within the godhead. They were extremely powerful. It was said that he had once forged an overgod weapon but was met with the wrath of heaven. He was killed along with his overgod weapon by heavenly lightning. From then on, the artifact sect did not dare to forge another overgod weapon. There were a total of 21 overgod weapons in the past, and they were all in the hands of 21 overgod. These overgod weapons were not forged by the god. They were natural primal chaos treasures, just like the reincarnation mirror. However, the reincarnation mirror was not an overgod weapon. Even natural primal chaos treasures had differences in strength. The reincarnation mirror was slightly weaker than an overgod weapon, let alone an overgod weapon. Some of the overgod weapons were destroyed when the overgods fought each other, while others were lost in the annals of history, never to be seen again. Once an overgod weapon appeared, the world would fall apart. Yin and Yang would reverse. There weren't many master god weapons nowadays. The Tuoba family was very powerful, but that master god weapon belonged to a lesser master god. It was usually worshipped as a treasure and would never be revealed unless it was a matter of life and death. If a master god weapon were to be unearthed now, the powerhouses of the Sisui dimension would definitely fight to the death for it. Powerhouses like the Nine Remoteness Lord would definitely be drawn out. Even the legendary master gods would appear. The two of them were silent. With Tuoba Quangyuan leading the way, no one dared to stop them. They headed straight for the eastern city's gate. Taking the gate was not cheap. The starting price was 50 top-grade god crystals. Most people would not do it. Even high gods would rather waste time flying than taking the gate. The eastern city was hundreds of millions of kilometers away from Godfire City. It would take at least 30 years to get there by flying. Yi Qinghan could not afford to waste time, and neither could Tuoba Quangyuan. They each paid more than 400 top-grade god crystals, then used the gate to teleport them out. Once the gate was activated, the world would spin, space-time would reverse, and countless stars would flash. The alternate dimension was extremely terrifying. The slightest carelessness would cause one to fall into the turbulence. Thus, one must not resist while riding the gate. Otherwise, one would definitely get lost in the alternate dimension. Using the gate was extremely fast. What would have taken 30 years to traverse was now only an hour's time. They arrived at Godfire City. Godfire City was like a machine. Its walls could move, and it was 30,000 meters tall. It was like a colossus. If this thing could move, then even overgods might not be able to destroy it. It was very likely that they would be destroyed. Yi Qinghan had already prepared himself, but he was still stunned. The two of them entered Godfire City and headed straight for the artifact sect in the southwest. It was extremely hot there, and the ground was next to a volcano. However, it had been suppressed by divine power and had yet to erupt. It was a majestic mountain range with tall, dense ancient trees. In the center of the mountain range was an active volcano. Flames occasionally spewed out, but they were blocked by formations. It looked like a paradise. The two of them arrived at the foot of the mountain. Tuoba Quangyuan revealed his identity and ordered someone to inform the artifact sect's elder. As the Tuoba family with the most ancient heritage, Tuoba Quangyuan still had some authority. Although the person who came might not be a grand elder or a grand elder, he would at least be the one in charge. As expected, a middle-aged man in brocade robes soon arrived. He was also a half-step lord. His name was Huajun. He immediately went up to Tuoba Quangyuan when he saw him. He said with a smile, "I didn't know you were coming, Brother Tuoba. Please forgive me for not coming out to greet you." "You're too kind, Brother Hua. I'm here to ask for a favor. I hope you'll let me through." Tuoba Quangyuan returned the greeting. "If it's something I can help with, just say it." "I'm sure I can help with a little," Huajun said after glancing at Yi Qinghan. "This is Yi Qinghan from the mythical realm. He's a friend of mine despite our age difference. He'd like to buy a flowboat. I wonder." Tuoba Quangyuan gestured with his hand. Only then did Huajun take a good look at Yi Qinghan. He could not help but be surprised. Since when did the Tuoba family's elder become friends with a low-level god-level ant? Had they not always been high and mighty? "I'm really sorry, but the flow boat is a limited item. There's a limited number produced every year, so I can't sell it privately. So, I'm sorry. If you have other god weapons that you like, I might be able to help," Huajun declined without hesitation. "What if I offer a rank 15 fire origin in exchange?" Yi Qinghan asked calmly. "P.S. I'm working 2 jobs now, so I'm slow in updating. Please forgive me, but I'll update at least 3 times a day. I'd like to write this book specifically, but dreams don't fill my stomach. Please understand." Chapter 783. Huajun's pupil shrank as he stared at Yi Qinghan in disbelief. A 15th grade origin of fire was not easy to obtain. Anyone who could mass-produce a 15th grade origin of fire had to first be a fire elemental superior god, and secondly, they had to have a fire origin body. Only when their understanding of the origin of fire had reached a certain limit would they be able to produce a 15th grade origin of fire. Fire origins could be controlled autonomously, unlike natural volcanoes where everything was determined by the heavens. Therefore, divine weapon sect's success rate was very poor. They had few finished products and were expensive. Every year, they wasted a lot of resources, which also prevented them from forging Lord God weapons. To forge Lord God weapons, one would first need a top-grade grade, 16 divine fire. To mobilize a top-grade grade, 16 divine fire, One would need to be a fire elemental half-step lord and have a fire origin body. Divine Weapon sect lacked such powerhouses the most. Do you have a fire origin body? Huajun asked in shock. Swoosh. Yi Qinghan swiped his hands, and the fire origins and water origins formed the yin-yang 8 trigrams. They coexisted with each other. Both were grade 15 origins. A dual fire and water origin body. My goodness, I can't believe such a person exists. Huajun was so excited that his hands were trembling. He gestured to the two of them. Please come in. We can talk about this. Tuoba Quangyuan's eyelids twitched. He had a bad feeling about this. He knew that Divine Weapon sect was definitely interested in Yi Qinghan. Moreover, Divine Weapon sect needed Yi Qinghan very much. They would treat him like a VIP and treat him with more respect than they would treat him. Yi Qinghan nodded. He put away the fire and water origins and followed Huajun deeper into the sect. The moment Yi Qinghan stepped into Divine Weapon sect, the Golden Crow suddenly woke up. It was so excited that it could not control itself. It turned into a flame and charged toward the volcano. What was that? Huajun was stunned. He did not manage to see the Golden Crow's appearance clearly, so he asked curiously. It's one of my fire-type spiritual pets. I guess it was attracted by the volcano. If it's not convenient, I'll go and get it back. Yi Qinghan said faintly. There's no need for that. The fire-type divine beasts are indeed interested in this volcano. It has attracted many fire-type divine beasts over the years. My sect isn't surprised at all. Fellow Taoist Yi, please come with me to see the sect master, Huajun said excitedly. Tuoba Quangyuan had become an extra person. He silently followed behind and regretted bringing Yi Qinghan to Divine Artifact sect. The three of them sped past the outer sect and headed straight for the inner sect. Halfway up a tall mountain, it was chopped off by someone. An enormous palace was built on top of it. It was majestic and vast, filled with the aura of primal chaos. Weapon God Palace. This palace was famous. Everyone knew that it was a special flying palace that was much more powerful than the 9 Serenity Lords' palace. The palace itself was a defensive divine artifact. Moreover, it was a Lord God artifact that was personally created by the Lord of Fire back then. It had been passed down to this day without a break. It was engraved with runes that could repel attacks with a 300% chance of success. Apart from the overgods and a few lords, no one could shake the Weapon God Palace. With the Weapon God Palace, Divine Artifact sect was invincible. Senior Brother Sect Master, I have an urgent matter to discuss with you, Huajun said respectfully at the foot of the mountain. His voice boomed like thunder, spreading to every corner of the inner sect. Come up. An ancient voice reverberated in the valley. It lasted for a long time. Wherever the voice reached, all wills were tampered with. It was filled with command. Yi Qinghan and Tuoba Quangyuan's eyes were filled with shock. They knew that the sect master of Divine Artifact sect must be an extremely powerful person. Even if his cultivation base was not that of a lord, it was much, much more powerful than the average half-step lord. Even Tuoba Quangyuan would not be able to last more than 3 moves. Thud, 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 the three of them walked all the way, not daring to fly at all. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the three of them arrived at the training field in front of the Weapon God Palace. They waited respectfully for the sect master of Divine Artifact sect. Senior brother, I've discovered a dual origin body of water and fire. He can control a rank 15 origin body of water and fire. Would you like to see him? Huajun said with a bow across the palace. Oh? A dual origin Dao body of water and fire. It hasn't appeared for many years. Let him in so that I can take a look at him. An ancient voice came from the palace. Tuoba Quangyuan wanted to decline and drag Yi Qinghan away. Otherwise, he would have wasted his time here. However, the sect master of Divine Artifact sect wanted to see Yi Qinghan. What right did he have to decline? Perhaps only the Tuoba family's master had the right to say no to the sect master. Huajun turned to Yi Qinghan and said, "Senior apprentice brother wants you to go in. Remember to be respectful. If senior apprentice brother takes a fancy to you, let alone the flowing boat, even a stronger defensive divine artifact wouldn't be a problem." Yi Qinghan nodded. Such an old monster was even older than his own ancestors. He had been around for countless years and was worthy of respect. He would not offend such an old monster for no reason. Yi Qinghan walked toward the palace gate. As soon as he reached the gate opened slowly, revealing a vast space. There was a long path that led deep into the palace. There were divine herbs everywhere. The ancient trees had lived for countless years, and the divine fruits were about to break the branches. The Weapon God Palace was not a palace at all. It was more like a sacred ground. The spiritual qi inside was so dense that one breath would be more useful than cultivating outside for a year. The divine bird ran out and drooled. If it didn't know that there was an old monster in the depths, it would not have been able to control its claws. What a treasure! Tsk. Unfortunately, it is not mine. The divine bird swallowed its saliva and mumbled. Yi Qinghan followed the path and walked deeper into the palace. The more he walked, the more he realized how vast the space inside the Weapon God Palace was. It was like a different dimension with no end in sight. After walking for 2 incense sticks' time, a huge lake appeared. There was a small house on one side of the lake and a wooden bridge. Divine willows grew on both sides of the lake and created ripples on the surface of the lake. It was so beautiful that one would forget to leave. A white-haired old man sat cross-legged beside a stone table. There was an ancient chessboard on top of it. He was the only one present. He was actually playing chess with Yi Qinghan. "Sit down and play chess with me." The old man's white hair reached his waist. He did not turn his head, but there seemed to be a pair of eyes staring at Yi Qinghan from behind. Yi Qinghan's body trembled. He felt goosebumps all over his body. He felt very uncomfortable. "Senior, my chess skills are not good." Yi Qinghan bowed slightly and replied respectfully. "It's okay. I am just bored. Play with me for a while." The old man still did not turn around. He waved his hand and Yi Qinghan lost control of his body. He sat down directly in front of the old man. Yi Qinghan was shocked. He raised his head and looked at the old man. His heart was beating rapidly as he patted his chest. Thump, thump, thump. The divine bird was also shocked. It flew up and shouted, "What the f***ck? You scared me to death." The old man had a square face. He was full of vigor. His face was flushed red and his skin was dry and cracked. It was probably because he had been baked by the divine fire for many years. At this moment, he was not angry. His black eyebrows and deep eyes made people lose themselves in his eyes. Chapter 784. The old man looked at Yi Qinghan with a dignified air. His deep eyes were emotionless as he calmly raised his hand to make a move. "No need to be so formal. Let's chat while we play. What's your name?" Yi Qinghan knew nothing about chess, but the divine bird knew a thing or two about chess. It told him where to go next. After making his move, he replied, "I'm Yi Qinghan from the mythical realm. You seem to have more than one type of elemental origin. Do you have a 5-elemental Taoist constitution?" The old man didn't test him, but he could see Yi Qinghan's foundation. Yi Qinghan was shocked. This old man was indeed very knowledgeable. He didn't have the slightest fluctuation of divine power, but the old man could tell that he had a 5-elemental Taoist constitution. "Senior, you have good eyes." "I do have a 5-elemental Taoist constitution," Yi Qinghan replied respectfully. "Only those from the Chaos era have succeeded in forging an acquired 5-elemental Taoist constitution. I didn't expect to see someone like that at this time. 12 godhoods might not have been much in the Chaos era, but it's a miracle in this day and age. The old man revealed Yi Qinghan's foundation again. The divine bird couldn't stand the old man's eyes. They seemed to be able to see through everything. No falsehood could hide his wise eyes. Yi Qinghan knew that he couldn't hide anything from the old man, so he stopped trying. Are you interested in joining the artifact sect? You'll be an honorary deacon. Once you cultivate to half-step lord level, you'll be promoted to an honorary elder. You won't have to fight. It's just a title, and you won't have to be worshipped. With this identity, you'll live a carefree life in the Sisui realm, the old man said slowly as he placed another piece. Yi Qinghan's eyes narrowed. He didn't expect the old man to let him join the artifact sect without testing him. It was rare to see such boldness. Senior, I have a sect in the mythical realm. It's not big, but it's full of elites. They're all my brothers and sisters who fought with me in small realms. Yi Qinghan said honestly. Don't worry about it. The artifact sect covers an area of tens of billions of square kilometers. I'll give you a city and a chance to develop. Just remember this favor in the future, the old man said calmly. Yi Qinghan was shocked. This old man in front of him was a little too good. It was as if a pie had fallen from the sky. Yi Qinghan stood up and bowed. Thank you, Senior. I will definitely repay your kindness. Tell me, why are you with the Tuoba family? The old man gestured with his hand, and Yi Qinghan automatically sat down. Yi Qinghan knew that there was no way he could hide it. If this elder wanted to investigate, he could even find out about his children. He replied, Senior, the Tuoba clan summoned me for a child. It's one of the 10 great primal chaos constitutions, the ethereal physique. There was finally some emotion in the old man's eyes as he murmured, the 10 battle constitutions, the reversal of yin and yang, the reappearance of the chaotic universe, the rise of the family. No wonder they were tempted. The ethereal spirit body belongs to the great demonic god's bloodline. Since you obtained it, why didn't you kill it? You have the bloodline of the dragon and the source of the shaman race. You should belong to the shaman race, right? The old man frowned as he looked at Yi Qinghan. The people of the two factions were natural enemies. It was a grudge that originated from the source of the universe and could not be resolved. Senior, the ethereal physique, is only a child of 4 or 5 years old. She didn't commit any sin and I don't belong to either faction. I only want to protect those I should protect. She knows me and calls me uncle. I have the responsibility to protect her as she grows up. As for what will happen in the future, we'll talk about it later, Yi Qinghan said firmly. Sigh. Perhaps this is the will of the heavens. If this child was discovered in the past, she would have been killed long ago. Now that she's under your protection, it seems that the primal chaos unification is coming soon. The 10 great primal chaos constitutions will all appear in the near future. The old man sighed and looked up at the sky. Yi Qinghan remained silent. It was impossible for her to kill Qin Wentian unless the situation reached an irreversible stage. After a long game of chess, Yi Qinghan was completely defeated. The divine bird curled its lips. It was the first time in its life that it had lost. Although it was unwilling, it did not dare to be arrogant in front of the old man in front of it. Then, the old man took out a golden medallion with the word glory engraved on it. It contained the law of the great Tao and looked very dignified. Take it. In the afternoon, I will personally announce that you are an honorary deacon of the Divine Tool sect. All the factions in the Sisui Plain will at least give you some face on the surface. However, no one can control what happens in the dark. This medallion can protect you from being killed by the older generation. If you die in the hands of someone of the same generation or are assassinated, the Divine Tool sect will not say anything. The old man pushed the medallion in front of Yi Qinghan and said indifferently, Senior, what do you need? Yi Qinghan held the medallion and asked, I don't need anything. When you cultivate to the half-step over God level and upgrade your fire origin to the 16th grade, perhaps I will be able to use you, the old man said indifferently. The old man's lifelong dream was to forge an over-God weapon. However, without a 16th or 17th grade fire origin, this dream was purely empty talk. There was no way he could do anything about it. If you need anything, go find Junior Brother Hua and ask him to prepare it for you. The price will be halved. Also, go and see that old thing from the Tuoba family. Try not to offend him if you can. Now that the era is chaotic, it's better to have one more ally than one more enemy. I think it's best for you to move your clan and sect to the Sisui Plain. Although it's chaotic and stronger here, with the protection of the Divine Tool sect, no one will dare to kill their way into my territory. The old man thought for a moment and continued, if you agree, ask Junior Brother Hua to send a large cloud-piercing ship to the Divine Tool realm and move all your family, friends, and sect here. You only need to record a video. You won't have to waste time making another trip. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment. He knew that if he became an honorary deacon, he would definitely attract the attention of the world. Then, the Divine Tool realm and the endless plains hidden behind him would no longer be safe. He had to bring them here, especially those from the inner sect. They needed to gain experience. This vast plain was the domain of the inner sect. Thank you, Senior. Yi Qinghan was grateful to the old man from the bottom of his heart. The old man had only met him for the first time, but he had helped him regardless of the cost. No matter what his plans were, at least he had given him a chance to survive. At the mouth of the volcano, the golden crow directly blended in and rolled around in the depths of the volcano, devouring the fire essence. The volcano was restless and flames soared into the sky, alarming the people of the Divine Tool sect. Huajun rushed to the mouth of the volcano and found that the volcano was out of control. However, he did not find the golden crow in the depths. What's going on? Huajun looked at the guard guarding the volcano and asked in a low voice. Elder, a small black bird just ran in. I thought it was an ordinary divine bird, so I didn't stop it, but it actually rushed into the volcano's underground. The guard's expression was ugly. He didn't know what to do. A small black bird? Is it Yi Qinghan's spirit pet? It can't be the golden crow, right? Huajun's expression changed and he was shocked. He hurriedly shouted at the guard, "Go and ask the sect master to bring Yi Qinghan here." Chapter 785. The temperature around Divine Artifacts sect was extremely high. Even the shrine couldn't bear it anymore. Flames spewed out from the volcano, threatening to devour the entire sect. Everyone's expression changed. The power of the volcano wasn't something the shrine could withstand. The flames here were at least 15th grade, and there might even be 16th grade flames in the deepest part of the volcano. Once it erupted, the entire Divine Artifact sect would be annihilated. The old sect master was also alarmed. He brought Yi Qinghan to the volcano in the blink of an eye. Looking at the volcano that was about to erupt, his expression changed drastically. What's going on? What's in the deepest part of the volcano? The old man asked. Huajun looked at Yi Qinghan. He wasn't sure if the thing in the deepest part of the volcano was Yi Qinghan's spirit pet. Yi Qinghan frowned. He knew that if the volcano continued to go out of control, it would definitely erupt. Thus, he stepped onto the volcano and started to absorb the uncontrollable fire essence. Everyone was shocked as they watched Yi Qinghan step onto the flames. His divine robe was destroyed, and the flames turned into a divine robe. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Yi Qinghan spun at high speed, absorbing the endless fire essence. His fire godhead was forged even stronger, and the fire essence inside it was filled to the brim. Once it erupted, it could destroy mountains and rivers. In the deepest part of the volcano, the golden crow rolled around like a fiery bird. It let out a furious roar, and the fire essence in the deepest part of the volcano continued to surge. Yi Qinghan couldn't hold on any longer. His divine body was cracking, and his godhead was about to be melted by the fire essence. The old sect master's expression changed completely. He shouted, "Open the inner sect's defensive array and evacuate everyone from the outer sect. Evacuate the people of Divine Fire City." Divine Artifacts sect was in chaos, but it was still under control. However, the panic was uncontrollable. Roar! Yi Qinghan roared and turned into a dragon. His 12 godheads started to spin rapidly. The fire godhead converted the fire essence into divine energy and transferred it to the other godhead. The dragon godhead started to absorb the fire essence, alleviating the pressure on the fire godhead. A 10,000-foot-long dragon pressed down on the volcanic crater. Its entire body was golden red, and flame essence flowed around its body. It was a breathtaking sight. The old sect master also flew into the sky, hoping to relieve the pressure on Yi Qinghan. If Yi Qinghan couldn't control the fire essence in the sky, the volcano would definitely erupt. This volcano that had been suppressed for tens of millions of years would erupt with world-destroying power. The enormous Divine Tool sect would instantly turn into nothing. Apart from Divine Tool Palace, everything within tens of millions of miles would be flooded. The 5 elements turned into heavenly dragons that tumbled within the volcano. The element of water constantly suppressed the flame essences, but there were simply too many flame essences. In an instant, they were able to suppress the source of water. "Bring me the materials, the best materials." Yi Qinghan's face was deathly pale. If he couldn't find an outlet for his divine power, his body would explode sooner or later. Whoosh! The old sect master immediately took out the divine weapon materials that he had kept for a long time and tossed them to Yi Qinghan. These were materials used to forge a master divine weapon. Although there wasn't much of it, it could definitely make Berserk a half-step master divine weapon. Unless it was a master divine weapon, no one would be able to resist it. Yi Qinghan mobilized the flame essences in his godhead and combined them with the volcano's fire essence to condense the materials. His divine power poured out to increase the temperature of the flame essences, but the effect wasn't great. At the beginning, it could only soften the materials. Yi Qinghan was multitasking. On one hand, he was absorbing the flame essences within the volcano. On the other hand, he was gathering the excess flame essences. On the other hand, he was using his divine power to ignite the flame essences. Tuoba Quangjuan sucked in a breath of cold air. This monster wasn't human. If he became a half-step master god, he could probably kill a powerhouse of the same level with a single slap. Roar! Roar! The 5 element dragons roared as they absorbed the flame essences and spat them at a piece of divine metal in front of Yi Qinghan. It was about a few hundred kilograms. Yi Qinghan returned to his original form and took the initiative to refine the divine metal. The material gradually softened. 1 day, 2 days, originally, it would have taken at least tens of thousands of years to refine the material with the volcano's power. Even the flames on the outside couldn't refine it at all. Now, more than half of it had been refined in just a month. Yi Qinghan's divine power was still abundant. The elders and Tuoba Quangjuan couldn't help but gulp. The lower echelons and inner sect disciples of Divine Artifacts sect were all driven away from the volcano. They only knew that something big had happened. After 2 months, the divine weapon material actually liquefied. The old sect master was very excited. However, he couldn't control the liquid divine weapon material at the moment. He could only let Yi Qinghan use it. Yi Qinghan then took out Zhongquang and refined it, creating a new one. More and more materials were being refined and turned back into liquid form. Divine Artifacts sect was constantly providing materials to Yi Qinghan. They had no choice. If they didn't provide the materials now, Yi Qinghan wouldn't be able to release his godly energy. He wouldn't be able to absorb the fire essence and control the volcano. The liquid material was controlled by Yi Qinghan and changed its shape. The internal order was completely according to Yi Qinghan's thoughts. It contained all kinds of elemental origins and laws. Frenzy gradually took shape. However, the flame essences at the bottom of the volcano had already surpassed 15th grade. 16th grade flame essences began to erupt. Yi Qinghan couldn't control it and was shocked. He immediately summoned the golden crow through his soul. "Little golden crow, come up immediately!" Yi Qinghan roared. The little golden crow flew out from the depths of the volcano. It opened its mouth and swallowed all of the flame essence above it. "I want to evolve into an emperor." The little golden crow used soul waves to send a message to Yi Qinghan and charged into the volcano again. "Take it easy. Don't let the flame essences come up again," Yi Qinghan warned. "Don't worry. This time, I'm going to swallow the 16th grade fire spirit in the depths of the volcano." The little golden crow excitedly charged into the depth. In the depths, a 16th grade fire spirit was frantically fleeing as if it had a soul and intelligence. It screamed and roared. The temperature around it was high enough to refine any creature, but the little golden crow chased it until it couldn't breathe. The 16th grade flame essences underground were extremely dense. The flames in the center of the volcano were uncontrollable and were swallowed by the little golden crow. It couldn't reach the surface anymore. Yi Qinghan retreated from the volcano's crater and cooled outside. The origin of water revolved around the berserk relic, radiating a cold light that could steal one's soul. This was a top 15th grade divine weapon, a half-step Lord-level divine weapon. It took Yi Qinghan more than 2 months to forge a half-step Lord-level divine weapon. If it were the old sect leader, it would take decades. He couldn't mobilize the flame essences in the depths of the volcano to refine the material. He could only rely on the flame essences in the periphery to refine it. This was Yi Qinghan's advantage. "This. What material is this? Senior, I'll return it to you in the future." Yi Qinghan held the berserk relic. The more he looked at it, the more he liked it. This time, he had gained a huge advantage. If the little golden crow broke through, it would reach the half-step Lord level. It might be difficult to kill people like Huajun or Tuoba Quangyuan, but it would be easy to kill people like Zi Chongyun. Huajun couldn't possibly be stronger than it. The old sect leader's expression changed slightly. He frowned and said, "As long as you don't let your little golden crow make the volcano erupt, I'll be grateful." Chapter 786. In the depths of the volcano, the little golden crow chased after it for more than half a year, swallowing countless rank 16 fire essences. It swooped down and devoured the fire spirit, while it soared into the sky and turned into a rocket. Whoosh! The sound of something breaking through the void cut across the river. The little golden crow turned into a pair of wings that blotted out the sky. It had successfully mastered rank 16 fire and become a half-step Lord level. It was majestic, hanging in the sky like the sun. The entire divine fire city could feel the terrifying heat within 10 million miles. The ground was almost melted. The sacred beast golden crow. "It's your spiritual pet?" the old sect master asked in shock. Yi Qinghan nodded. It had finally matured. With it, it would be safer in the Sisui realm. The old sect master's eyes flashed. With the sacred beast golden crow and Yi Qinghan, it was only a matter of time before Divine Weapon Sect forged a Master God weapon. Seal the volcano. Forbid any fire-type divine beasts from approaching the volcano in the future, the old sect master ordered. He was scared out of his wits this time. Divine Weapon Sect was almost destroyed. That day, the old sect master announced that Yi Qinghan had become an honorary deacon of Divine Weapon Sect. Many people in Divine Weapon Sect were dissatisfied. An outsider who had contributed nothing to Divine Weapon Sect was promoted to honorary deacon. Many young disciples had worked hard for Divine Weapon Sect for thousands of years and could not even be considered inner disciples. However, who dared to question the old sect master's personal announcement? The 6 elders of Divine Weapon Sect all supported the old sect master's decision. Yi Qinghan was now an honorary deacon of Divine Weapon Sect. Tuoba Quangjuan was a little confused. He realized that he had wasted so much time only to benefit Divine Weapon Sect. How could he accept this? Fortunately, Yi Qinghan promised to continue visiting the Tuoba family. His expression eased a little. The next day, Yi Qinghan followed Tuoba Quangjuan to the Tuoba family's territory through the space gate. Meanwhile, Huajun took Yi Qinghan's token and headed to the mythical realm on a large cloud-piercing ship. Yi Qinghan instantly went from a nobody to a household name. There was no one who did not know who he was. In the Grand Divine Artifacts sect, every inner disciple had to go through layers upon layers of tests. Even some of the young geniuses of large aristocratic families found it extremely difficult to enter the outer sect. But what did Yi Qinghan do to be directly promoted to an honorary deacon? Most people were discussing Yi Qinghan's background. The Tuoba family had already received the news. Even the information regarding Yi Qinghan and the little golden crow had reached Tuoba Jiuxiao's ears. Even Tuoba Jiuxiao, the patriarch of an ancient lineage, fell silent. Yi Qinghan's performance was simply too shocking. Even Divine Tool sect took the initiative to promote Yi Qinghan to an honorary deacon. This was a testament to his potential. Xianxian, do whatever it takes to conquer Yi Qinghan. Tuoba Jiuxiao looked straight at Tuoba Xianxian. His meaning was obvious. Tuoba Xuanxuan's face turned slightly red. She understood what Tuoba Jiuxiao meant. Even if she had to sacrifice her body, she had to conquer Yi Qinghan and make him work for the family. I will try my best. Tuoba Xianxian lowered her head and said, I don't want you to try your best, I want 100% success rate. If it really doesn't work, I want a child at least. I believe that the two of you are definitely among the best in the world. You can even be ranked in the top 50. The top 50 of the younger generation are all people from large clans and factions. You can't have any connection with them. This Yi Qinghan is the best candidate. Our Tuoba family needs true elite. You are a woman after all. The family cannot be entrusted to you, but it can be entrusted to your child. Do you understand? Tuoba Jiuxiao said in a deep voice. Tuoba Xuanxuan's expression changed slightly. She clenched her fists, her eyes filled with unwillingness. In the entire Tuoba family, there was no one else who could stand on the stage except for her. Why couldn't she inherit the family and lead them to the peak? Was it just because she was a woman? This time, Yi Qinghan is here. I will create an opportunity for the two of you. Once you have a child, you cannot tell him. This child must be the Tuoba family's. Tuoba Jiuxiao said firmly. Grandfather. Tuoba Xuanxuan's expression turned ugly. She didn't understand what she was in Tuoba Jiuxiao's eyes. Was she just a tool to strengthen the family? Tuoba Xuanxuan's attitude couldn't change Tuoba Jiuxiao's decision. That night, Tuoba Jiuxiao announced a gathering of heroes in the name of Tuoba Xianxian. He welcomed all the young elites in the world to come and spar. He also spread the news that the main purpose of this gathering was to find a cultivation partner for Tuoba Xianxian. In the Tuoba territory, all the young experts were excited. If they married Tuoba Xianxian, they would be able to save thousands of years of hard work. They would be able to turn from a pheasant into a phoenix in an instant. Yi Qinghan and Tuoba Quangjuan arrived outside the Tuoba family. Tuoba Quangjuan arranged for them to stay in the VIP room before reporting to Tuoba Jiuxiao. After seeing the majestic Divine Tools sect and Divine Fire City, the Tuoba family didn't seem to be so shocked anymore. Yi Qinghan had condensed all kinds of godheads in the past 6 months and entered the mid-level high god realm. His battle prowess had increased by 100-fold. He could defeat Tuoba Xianxian even without using the 10 Directions seal. However, Yi Qinghan still suppressed his cultivation level to the low-level high god realm. He didn't reveal his full strength, leaving himself a way out. The divine bird's restless genes began to stir. It discovered that the Tuoba family had many treasures, so many that it was impossible to count them all. Yi Qinghan didn't want to fall out with the Tuoba family at this time. He suppressed the divine bird and didn't let it cause trouble. In the Tuoba family's territory, the young disciples of all the forces in the Qingshan continent went straight to the Tuoba main city through the space gate to participate in the meeting of heroes. Firstly, they wanted to verify their progress over the years and discuss the Tao arts that they couldn't comprehend. Secondly, they wanted to attract Tuoba Xuanxuan's attention and become the son-in-law of the Tuoba family. The Xue family of the Qingshan continent, King Xue, was a supreme king and a top expert of the young generation. His cultivation level was higher than Tuoba Xuanxuan's, but their battle prowess was on par. He was Tuoba Xuanxuan's most powerful suitor. The Lin family of the Lin family, Lin Zishan, was the third strongest expert of the young generation in the Qingshan continent. He was also Tuoba Xuanxuan's suitor. He had been on par with King Xue for the past few years. They would fight once every 10 years, but he always lost by a little. The second place was naturally Tuoba Xianxian. The fourth place was the Sky Sword Sex Qing Kuan. The fifth place was the son of the 9 Dark Strongholds leader, Enchantment. One had to admit that Enchantment was the most difficult person to deal with in the Qingshan continent. Although his cultivation and battle prowess were strong, he hadn't reached the level of an ultimate expert. He couldn't even be ranked in the top 500. However, he was an assassin and had a vengeful personality. His father was the leader of the 9 Dark Stronghold, and his cultivation level was close to the Master God level. Their entire family had the same personality. They were protective of their own people and had no bottom line. Very few people dared to provoke them. Sometimes, even the inner disciples of the Tuoba family would have to avoid Enchantment. The top 30 experts of the Qingshan continent, regardless of whether they were rogue cultivators or those from prominent families, had all arrived at the main city through the space gate to wait for tomorrow's meeting of heroes. Chapter 787. The next day, Yi Qinghan slowly woke up, but Tuoba Jiuxiao did not summon him. Instead, he was greeted by Tuoba Xianxian, who was extremely charming. She wore a cream-colored dress with sleeves that only covered her elbows. Her jade-like arms were like jade, and divine light circulated around them. Her twin peaks stood tall and straight. This kind of charm was different from Ren Huangye's. Tuoba Xianxian made people impulsive, while Ren Huangyi made people calm down. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows. He did not understand why Tuoba Xianxian was dressed like this. Although it did not look out of place and was even more beautiful, he did not like Tuoba Xuanxuan's style. Perhaps he liked Tuoba Xuanxuan's heroic spirit and fighting spirit that was comparable to a man's. Why is she dressed like this? Yi Qinghan asked calmly. She's seducing you, idiot. The divine bird replied bluntly. Yi Qinghan. Tuoba Xianxian clenched her fists and glared at the divine bird to hide the panic in her heart. She looked straight at Yi Qinghan and said, "There's a gathering of heroes today. It's a gathering of the younger generation. It's good for you. My grandfather might not have time to see you today, so I'm inviting you to have some fun." Who are they? Yi Qinghan asked. Qingshan continent's top 30 experts, Yuhaizhou and Xianyuan continent's top 10 experts. My 3 friends are all peerless beauties. They're considered top beauties in Sisui Plain. Are you interested? Tuoba Xianxian smiled and asked, If you're interested, why don't you change your clothes? I'll wait for you outside. Yi Qinghan nodded. Tuoba Xianxian glared at the divine bird, turned around and left the room. The divine bird curled her lips and clicked her tongue. For a proper woman to suddenly become so flirtatious, if she doesn't have bad intentions, then she must have fallen in love with you and is trying to seduce you. No matter which one it is, you have to be careful. Otherwise, I'm worried that the little master will join forces with the people from the inner sect to beat you up. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes. After a simple wash, he changed into a black battle robe that accentuated his tall and straight figure. No matter how he dressed, he was the center of attention and stood out from the crowd. I'm just going to see the experts of the Xiasi water level, so I'm mentally prepared. Don't worry, I'm not interested in other women. Yi Qinghan tidied up his clothes and stepped out of the room. Looking at Tuoba Xuanxuan's faintly discernible curves, that kind of hazy feeling could definitely seduce any man. The two of them walked side by side, drawing the envy of the bystanders. A few young people from the Tuoba family looked at Yi Qinghan with anger and killing intent in their eyes. However, with Tuoba Xianxian beside him, they did not dare to act recklessly. Longquan Garden was Tuoba Xuanxuan's side courtyard. It was a huge independent side courtyard with mountains, rivers, forests, pavilions, and a small martial arts arena. At this moment, there were more than 40 experts sitting in the side courtyard. 5 of them were women, and the rest were all top-notch elite. Any one of them was comparable to the inner sect experts of the insane sect, an existence that could wipe out a small middle realm. Each of them was handsome and dignified. 3 in a group, 2 in a team. However, there were 5 experts who were more aloof and arrogant, unwilling to interact with others. Qingshan Continent's number 1 expert, Shui Jiwang, number 5, and Xian, Yuhai Continent's governor's son, Yu He, and Xianyuan family's Xianyuan Continent's Xianyuan Zio. Both of them were the representatives of their respective continent. Coupled with their prominent backgrounds, they did not like to interact with outsiders. Their target this time was Tuoba Xianxian, hoping to marry Tuoba Xianxian to achieve their goal of forming an alliance. There was also a cold young man who was also dressed in black. He was as cold as ice and did not speak much. The sword in his hand never left his palm, keeping everyone at 1,000 miles away. The 5 top-notch female cultivators were indeed, as Tuoba Xianxian had said. They were all peerless beauties. However, looking at the situation, the 5 of them seemed to be very familiar with each other. At this moment, they were gathered together to discuss something. However, they kept the other men outside, warning anyone who approached them. At this moment, Tuoba Xianxian brought Yi Qinghan into the Longquan Garden. The divine bird sat on Yi Qinghan's shoulder and smiled arrogantly. It swept its gaze over the 40 people in the pavilion at the side of the martial arts field like a supreme emperor. Tuoba Xuanxuan's dressing today indeed made everyone's eyes light up, especially those women. Their eyes widened, and at this moment, these women seemed to pale in comparison. Xianxian, did you eat the wrong medicine? You're actually wearing a dress, and such a seductive one at that. Who are you trying to seduce today? An extremely beautiful woman was shocked. She was Qingshan Continent's governor's princess, Yi Shanjing. Other than Tuoba Xianxian, she was the most beautiful woman. Yi Shanjing moved from Tuoba Xuanxuan's body to Yi Qinghan's side. She looked at Yi Qinghan's tall and straight body, his imposing aura, and his devilish appearance, and couldn't help but come to a realization. She clicked her tongue in wonder and joked, "Yo, Xianxian, you don't seem to be choosing a husband this time, but to tell us that you've already chosen a husband, right?" The women were still fine, but the other men's expressions changed. They stared at Yi Qinghan and released their auras, pressuring Yi Qinghan. At least 30 young experts released their auras towards Yi Qinghan, causing the sky to change color. Yi Qinghan's robe was blown up by the wind, and his hair was blown back. However, he didn't look at the crowd, and his expression didn't even change. He was strolling leisurely as if nothing had happened. "Little girl, what nonsense are you talking about? Be careful or I'll beat you up." Tuoba Xuanxuan's face was bright red, and this was the first time she looked shy. Seeing this, Yishan Jing and the others smiled faintly. There was no need to say anything about such an obvious thing. King Shui coldly glanced at Yi Qinghan and asked Tuoba Xianxian gently, "Xianxian, why don't you introduce him to me? Why haven't I seen this person before? Can any Tom, Dick, and Harry participate in the meeting of heroes? A nobody and a low-level high god rookie. Miss Xianxian, could it be that he's your distant relative?" And Xian said disdainfully. Tuoba Xianxian saw the hostility of the crowd and quickly transmitted to Yi Qinghan, "Don't be angry, I didn't tell them that you're participating in the meeting of heroes. Let me introduce everyone. This is Yi Qinghan. I'm sure everyone has heard of him before. He's a famous person recently, and he's the honorary deacon of the Divine Artifact sect." Tuoba Xianxian pulled Yi Qinghan's arm and walked towards the forest pavilion. She said with a smile, "I've known Mr. Yi for many years, and I once fought with him in the mythological plane. I lost by a little, but we're friends now. He has a wife, so don't spout nonsense. His wife is much prettier than me, and I can't help but feel pity for her. TSK, I didn't expect Xianxian to have such a feminine side. She's even lying to herself now." Yishan Jing continued to tease. "That's right, I always thought that Sister Xianxian was the manliest of the women. I didn't expect her to become a woman when she has feelings." Ha ha ha, the 5 women laughed, and Tuoba Xianxian couldn't raise her head. "Greetings, Yi Qinghan. Fellow Taoist Xianxian and I are just ordinary friends. Please don't misunderstand. This will only tarnish fellow Taoist Xianxian's reputation." Yi Qinghan slowly spoke up, his hoarse voice causing the 5 female cultivators to have a much better impression of him. Chapter 788. The 5 female cultivators had a good impression of Yi Qinghan. In addition, they believed that Tuoba Xianxian had chosen Yi Qinghan, so they did not give him any face. However, the others didn't think so, especially those super experts who had a good impression of Tuoba Xianxian and were pursuing her. Their expressions changed abruptly. "Yi Qinghan? Junior, I wonder which elder of Divine Artifact sect you have to suck up to become an honorary deacon?" And Xian said with disdain, not giving him any face at all. "Ha ha ha, maybe it's Elder Feng of the Divine Artifact sect. He likes pretty boys like you the most. They're good-looking but not very capable. All you have to do is turn your back to him and bow." Qing Kuan laughed. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. Even the female cultivators knew what Qing Kuan meant. Their faces turned red. Elder Feng of Divine Artifact sect was known for his fondness for men, especially young ones. Not many could escape his grasp. Yi Qinghan's eyes were cold as he looked at Xian. Killing intent flashed in his eyes as he loosened his fist. "Qing Kuan, don't talk nonsense. Fellow Taoist Yi doesn't know you. It wouldn't be good if she misunderstood." Tuoba Xianxian frowned. She felt that Qing Kuan had gone too far. "Miss Xianxian, am I wrong?" Qing Kuan had a cunning look on his face. Perhaps because he was a young master of an aristocratic family, he was used to fighting and scheming against others. "Oh, you know so much about it. It seems that Elder Feng of the Divine Artifact sect has visited you. Does your anus still hurt?" Yi Qinghan was too lazy to argue with others, but the divine bird's words were even more vicious. His words silenced everyone. Qing Kuan's face turned purple as he glared at the divine bird. He was so angry that he vomited blood. At this time, everyone stared at Qing Kuan with a look of sudden realization. Qing Kuan got goosebumps from being stared at. He shouted, "I've never been done by him! Ha 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 ha! We understand, you don't need to explain. King Shui and the others laughed loudly, as if they understood everything. The faces of several female cultivators turned red, and their strange eyes seemed to say, "No wonder you know so clearly. Turns out that you've been slept with." Qing Kuan was furious. He couldn't refute the divine bird's words. Now, no one believed him. Whoosh! Tuoba Xianxian blocked Yi Qinghan. Taoist Qing, this is my home. Do you think it's a good place to fight? Qing Kuans. Ha ha ha, a cornered dog will do something desperate. You must have been poked at your sore spot. Don't worry, we are all good people. We won't mock you. The divine bird jumped onto Tuoba Xuanxuan's shoulder and said smugly. Hu Qing Kuan's breathing quickened. His chest heaved up and down and his fingers trembled. He did not know what to say. And Xian sneered and said, "What a sharp-tongued lowly bird. You dare to spout nonsense in this kind of situation." Tisk tsk, there are so many people here, but only the two of you know about Elder Feng. Looks like this Elder Feng has quite the pervert, to think he would defile the two of you, the divine bird mocked. Yi Qinghan sneered. Bickering with the divine bird was just asking for trouble. And Xian's killing intent appeared. Are you done? Are you not going to give me face? Tuoba Xuanxuan's aura changed. I'll just kill this bird. No one in Qing Xin continent dares to talk to me like that. And Xian said coldly. I'm so scared of you. Defeat Beauty Xianxian before you talk to this divine bird. If you can't even beat her, you're just a woman. How can you fight with the great all-beast divine emperor? The divine bird said in disdain. And Xian was furious. He was about to go berserk. Tuoba Xianxian frowned and glared at the divine bird. Shut up. I know you're strong. Plus, there are many people in the world who can't beat me. Are they all women? Even if they are women, so what? So what if they're women? The divine bird looked at Tuoba Xuanxuan's angry face and laughed. He knew he said the wrong thing. He included Tuoba Xianxian in his words. Women are pretty good. Hee, you're so beautiful that even this divine bird is tempted by you. My master definitely won't be able to escape from your grasp. The divine bird said in a flattering manner. Tuoba Xianxian snorted. She couldn't be bothered to talk to it. She changed the topic. Everyone, please take a seat. Today I encountered a small problem in my cultivation. I'd like to invite everyone to discuss the Tao. You can say whatever you want today. You can also spar with each other. After he finished speaking, and Xian and Qing Kuan sneered. Their eyes filled with killing intent swept past Yi Qinghan as they chose a place to sit down. Tuoba Xianxian started the topic to attract attention. Yi Qinghan only listened quietly. He didn't participate in the discussion. However, these people were indeed outstanding in their own ways. Every word of theirs had the effect of adding the finishing touch to a story, causing others to suddenly see the light. 1,000 people had 1,000 ideas. They all had different ways to solve the Tao. This provided Yi Qinghan with many ideas. Everyone saw that Yi Qinghan only listened but didn't say anything. He even nodded occasionally. They all felt that he was just making up the numbers. Their eyes were full of disdain. Sometimes, even Yi Shanjing felt that Yi Qinghan was like a silver spear made of wax. Yi Qinghan, you must have some skills to be able to become an honorary deacon in Divine Artifacts sect. I wonder if you can broaden my horizons? King Shui looked at Yi Qinghan and asked calmly. Yi Qinghan smiled. Divine Artifacts sect is too kind. I only have a fire essence. I'll be useful to them in the future. Fire origin body? So it's a special constitution. No wonder. Some of the weaker elites suddenly realized they didn't have the right to look down on an essence body. Their eyes were filled with respect. However, King Shui and the others all had special constitutions. They all had the ability to kill special constitutions. It was only an essence body. They didn't care about it at all. Then Taoist Yi, which aspect are you most proficient in? Why don't you show it to everyone? You've been listening without saying anything. Isn't this unfair to us? Yu Haizhou and Yu He stared at Yi Qinghan intensely, wanting to force Yi Qinghan to make a move. However, Yu He was hoping that Yi Qinghan was just there to make up the numbers. That way they could eliminate one of their opponents. Everyone looked at Yi Qinghan. They saw that he was standing in front of a bush while Tuoba Xianxian was following him. They were very jealous and wanted to cause trouble for Yi Qinghan. I heard that you even defeated Taoist Xianxian. Then do you mind sparring with me? My cultivation is not as good as Taoist Xuanxuan's. Qing Kuan coldly said. Qing Kuan was the first disciple of Sky Sword sect. His Sky Sword art was enough to suppress an era. He had fought for thousands of years. Other than Tuoba Xianxian, only King Shui could fight him in the entire Clear Spirit continent. Yi Qinghan looked at Tuoba Xianxian. His original intention today was to see the true strength of these young prodigies. He also wanted to use the strengths of the various sects to make up for his own weakness. Now that insane sect hadn't established itself, it wouldn't be appropriate to offend these first disciples. Chapter 789. Yi Qinghan looked at Tuoba Xianxian. He really didn't want to fight with them here as there was no benefit at all. What? Do you only know how to hide behind a woman? No wonder you're licking Elder Feng's boot. Qing Kuan mocked. TSK, you still dare to mention this. Are you afraid that others don't know that Elder Feng is behind you? Pretty boy, why are you so shameless? The divine bird sneered. Qing Kuan was furious. He was so angry that he felt dizzy. Yi Qinghan, do you dare to fight? If you don't, then get out. Don't embarrass yourself here. Qing Kuan looked at Yi Qinghan in the eye. Hey, why are you asking for a beating? Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. This kind of person was really asking for a beating. I'm asking for a beating? Ha ha ha, come if you're capable. If you can beat me, I'll apologize to you. Qing Kuan roared. All right, let's stop here. 2 moves, 1 move each. We'll back off and lose. How about that? Yi Qinghan said calmly. Okay. Qing Kuan agreed without hesitation. He wanted to vent his anger on Yi Qinghan. It would be degrading to argue with the divine bird. Tuoba Xianxian also didn't want to hurt their relationship. Knowing Yi Qinghan's strength, she transmitted her voice. He has such a temper. Don't take it to heart. Just defeat him. There's no need to hurt him. After all, the Sky Sword sect is a large power. Yi Qinghan nodded slightly and walked towards the training field. Qing Kuan was proud. He wanted to show off his domineering aura and let Tuoba Xianxian see his manliness. Tuoba Xianxian was helpless. She could only remind him, Qing Kuan, be careful. Don't force yourself. Qing Kuan thought that Tuoba Xianxian was worried about him. He patted his chest and said, Miss Xianxian, don't worry. I'm confident in dealing with him. Sighed Tuoba Xianxian sighed. Men, no matter how strong they were all fools when they were jealous. They had completely forgotten their own surnames. Yi Qinghan clenched his fist. The god-severing gauntlets were attached to his iron fist. He stood proudly like a pine tree and looked at Qing Kuan indifferently. Bring out your weapon and attack first. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving you a chance, Qing Kuan said arrogantly. Everyone sat up straight and raised their heads in anticipation. However, Tuoba Xianxian knew that once Yi Qinghan made his move, Qing Kuan would definitely not have a chance to retaliate. Thus, she said, Taoist Qing Kuan, you go first. Yi Qinghan nodded and gestured for Qing Kuan to make the first move. Qing Kuan didn't know what was good for him and wanted to show off his manliness. He said disdainfully, You go first. After all, you're a guest and a low-level high deity. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't even be interested. The divine bird looked up at the sky. It really didn't want to see Qing Kuan's miserable state. Yi Qinghan didn't hold back anymore. He didn't even use berserk. He changed his aura and controlled the space-time order of the entire arena. Cheng Kuan couldn't move an inch. The gravity on the ground could crush a mid-level high deity's body. Low-level high deities couldn't even think about moving. As for Cheng Kuan, he could still move, but it was impossible for him to dodge quickly. Boom! Hua! Yi Qinghan's fist was like the wind, shattering the space. His iron fist was covered in flames and devoured everything. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of Cheng Kuan. Cheng Kuan was terrified. He wanted to dodge, but his legs were as heavy as lead. He couldn't move at all. He felt that the space around him had become stagnant. He couldn't control the order anymore. He couldn't even control the aura of the outside world. He could only raise his sword to block Yi Qinghan's fist. Bang! Yi Qinghan only used the divine power of the dragon godhead, but it almost broke Cheng Kuan's sword. Cheng Kuan's body flew into the distance like a kite with a broken string. Bam! 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 Cheng Kuan kept retreating. Yi Qinghan's power of destruction entered Cheng Kuan's body through the scabbard, making him as helpless as a mortal. Swish! And Xian and Cheng Kuan's relationship was considered good. And Xian's figure flickered as he reached out to catch Xian. However, the moment they touched, another wave of energy erupted from Cheng Kuan's body and blasted into Xian's. Boom! The two of them slammed into a pillar, triggering a defensive formation. The two of them bounced back and fell to the ground. Kakik! What a good move! What a pair of like-minded friends! The divine bird snickered. Everyone wanted to laugh, but they were also shocked by Yi Qinghan's strength. How much power did that punch contain? How many profound mysteries and grand daos did it use? Others might not be able to see it, but how could these elites not see it? The grand Tao of order, the law of space, the profound mysteries of force, the origin of fire, the power of destruction, the profound mysteries of hitting a cow from a distance, the 1-inch strike, every profound law was ingeniously used, making it impossible for Cheng Kuan to defend himself. This was the price of underestimating his opponent. Pooh! As soon as Cheng Kuan got up, he felt his blood and qi blocked in his throat, forcing him to spit it out. And Xian was the unlucky one. He just wanted to act cool and catch Cheng Kuan, but he didn't expect to be struck by lightning and implicated himself. Their faces turned purple. Yi Qinghan didn't want to hurt them at all. Otherwise, if he used his full strength, the two of them wouldn't be able to get up. Clap, 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 Shui Jiwang and the others couldn't help but stand up and applaud. Although this power wasn't great, and the instantaneous explosion of divine power wasn't very strong, it won in terms of profound mysteries and superb secret technique. Just this move alone was enough to make him a top-notch expert in the clear spirit continent. However, they didn't know that Yi Qinghan didn't use his full strength at all. He only used a single godhead. If he used all his strength, it would be equivalent to 20 times the instantaneous explosion, turning Cheng Kuan into dust. Tuoba Xianxian stared blankly at Yi Qinghan. She knew that he had improved again. He was much stronger than before. If he wanted to win against her, he didn't need to use the 10 Directions Seal's peak power. Yishan Jing and the other female cultivators opened their mouths to speak but stopped. They didn't know how to describe the shock in their hearts. They thought that Yi Qinghan was able to suppress Tuoba Xianxian because of his handsomeness, but it turned out that he really suppressed her. Yishan Jing thought about it and agreed. If he couldn't suppress a woman like Tuoba Xianxian, how could he conquer her manly heart? Thank you for letting me win. Yi Qinghan withdrew his fist and said calmly. Before Cheng Kuan could say anything, and Xian suddenly pulled out his sword and disappeared in the air. The entire courtyard fell into a gloomy, murderous aura. Xiao, and Xian appeared again in the blink of an eye. But when he appeared, his sword was already at the back of Yi Qinghan's neck. It was only a few millimeters away from piercing through Yi Qinghan's neck and suppressing his life force. But Yi Qinghan's body turned, and the sword slashed across Xian's neck. Blood flashed, and in the blink of an eye, the wound was healed. Yi Qinghan raised his hand and ruthlessly slapped Xian's face. Boom! Xian's body was directly smashed to the ground by Yi Qinghan's slap. His head heavily hit the stone floor, activating the array. Blood flowed from his head, and his mind went dark. He let out a muffled groan and fainted. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Yi Qinghan's speed was too fast. It was as if he knew that Xian would sneak attack him from behind. His turn was as smooth as flowing water. Chapter 790. Xian was slapped so hard that he couldn't get up for a long time. His handsome face quickly swelled up. His mind was dark and dizzy. He felt like he had taken the initiative to reach out his face for Yi Qinghan to slap him. He couldn't understand the situation. Yi Qinghan's eyes turned cold. This person clearly had killing intent. If he couldn't dodge it, he would definitely die. I'll give Miss Xian some face this time. If you dare to attack again, I'll kill you, Yi Qinghan said coldly. Humph! Xian groaned and struggled to get up from the ground. He squinted his eyes and stared at Yi Qinghan. He didn't understand how Yi Qinghan discovered him. Yi Qinghan was at the perfection stage of the spatial laws. The order of the surroundings was under his control. He was the master of everything within 100 meters. Even if he was twice as strong, he still wouldn't be able to kill Yi Qinghan. Just his state of mind wasn't enough. Once Yi Qinghan's strength increased, his assassination technique would kill him 100 times over. Don't go too far. Let's not hurt each other. Tuoba Xian quickly became the peacemaker. She didn't want Yi Qinghan to kill Xian. You dare to sneak attack with just this bit of strength? This divine bird can suppress you with one claw, let alone this divine bird's master. TSK, there are so many idiots in the world. This place has the most. The divine bird mocked. Everyone was speechless. This lowly bird wanted to offend everyone. What did it mean by this place has the most? Could it be that everyone was an idiot? Yishan Jing liked this divine bird more and more. It was so lowly that it was cute. Yi Qinghan remained silent. He didn't want to cause trouble. However, if anyone dared to provoke him, he would definitely make a move. Xian and Cheng Kuan stared at the divine bird. Their killing intent was getting stronger. The divine bird stood on Tuoba Xuanxuan's shoulder. It knew that the two didn't dare to make a move. It said arrogantly, "Trash, if you don't like this divine bird, come and hit me." Yi Shanjing and the other female cultivators directly spat out their tea. This fellow was truly a troublemaker who wished for the world to be in chaos. Tuoba Xian was speechless. She turned to look at the divine bird on her shoulder and said in a muffled voice, "Can you not speak?" "Can." The divine bird flapped its wings and said disdainfully, "A group of existences with 0 IQ. This divine bird is such a high-level creature that I can't be bothered to bicker with you." Whoosh! After the divine bird finished speaking, it flew into Yi Qinghan's body and turned into a mark that appeared on Yi Qinghan's arm. King Shui and the other experts pretended to be calm and showed their kingly demeanor. They did not want to bicker with the divine bird. They knew that there was no benefit in bickering with it, and they had even lost face in front of Tuoba Xian. If they fought with Yi Qinghan, it would be unfair to win, but if they lost, it would be a complete loss of their reputation. After all, their cultivation levels were different. Everyone returned to their seat. Yi Qinghan was still standing in the garden, looking at the green willow. It was as if looking at the scenery was more comfortable than interacting with the others. Tuoba Xian went to greet everyone. Yishan Jing and the others looked at each other and gathered around. "Young Master Yi, how do you know Xian? Where are you from? How many people are there in your family? Yi Shanjing asked continuously. Yi Qinghan was speechless. He looked at Yi Shanjing calmly, but he did not know her. Cough cough. Let me introduce myself. I am the youngest daughter of the Clear Spirit Continent's Prefecture Lord, Yi Shanjing. Greetings, young Master Yi. Yi Shanjing lowered her head shyly, not daring to look at Yi Qinghan directly. Young Master Yi, I am the dragon spirit of the Dragon Clan. Greetings, young Master Yi. Just now I felt a very strong dragon bloodline in your body. Are you also a dragon bloodline inheritor? At this moment, a crisp voice sounded. Yi Qinghan looked up at the dragon spirit. She looked small and delicate, but her figure was definitely a baby's peak. At most, she was about 1.65 meters. She looked so pitiful that even the heavens would pity her. The dragon spirit also had dragon bloodline, but its level was too low. At least compared to Yi Qinghan, it was too far away. Yi Qinghan nodded and said, Greetings, fellow Taoists. I do have dragon bloodline in my body, but it was formed later. I am not a natural dragon bloodline inheritor. The dragon spirit was a natural inheritor, but as time passed, the level of her bloodline became lower and lower. It seemed that the dragon clan had also declined. If no dragon bloodline was born in 1,000 years, it was very likely that they would disappear in the long river of history. The dragon bloodline was very precious. It had saved the human race several times in history and belonged to the core camp of the witch race. The dragon spirit looked at Yi Qinghan enviously. The level of the dragon bloodline formed after birth was so high. It was much higher than her, a natural dragon bloodline inheritor. Thinking about the current situation of the clan, she could not help but sigh sadly. If another dragon bloodline was born in the dragon clan, it would not lose to any of the 10 great battle constitutions of the past. Young Master Yi, can you sell a portion of your essence blood to me? I am willing to pay any price. The dragon spirit looked at Yi Qinghan firmly. It could be seen that she wanted to revive the clan. Essence blood was related to the power of qi and blood. Some people could even use essence blood to control people. It was very important. If there was no special relationship, essence blood would not be leaked. Yi Qinghan shook his head and refused without hesitation. His essence blood, other than the inner sect and those children, could not be given to anyone, especially these ancient clans. He did not want to take the risk. Sigh. I was too impatient. Fellow Taoist, please don't take it to heart. The dragon spirit said helplessly. It's okay. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. The dragon spirit opened her mouth and wanted to buy his essence blood. At first glance, he could tell that she was a very pure little girl from a rich family with no survival experience. Otherwise, she would not want to buy his essence blood on their first meeting. Fellow Taoist Yi, since you are so familiar with Xianxian, why don't you sell her a portion? She can refine it on the spot. You are a man, are you afraid that a little girl will harm you? At this time, another woman's eyes shined. She was clearly an intelligent person. But at this moment, she was holding onto the dragon spirit's arm. It could be seen that the two had a good relationship and she wanted to persuade Yi Qinghan on behalf of the dragon spirit. She was Shui Yuner, the princess of the Shui family. The relationship between the dragon family and the Shui family was very good and she had a strong protective nature. She had always been taking care of the dragon spirit. Otherwise, with her temperament, the dragon family would not have allowed her to go out. That's right. Even if you don't want to give face to the monk, you still have to give face to the Buddha. It's just a portion of essence blood. With so many beautiful women begging you, you should just give it to them. If you really can't do it, then have Ling give her body to you, he. Several women jeered in unison. The dragon spirit lowered her head, not daring to look at Yi Qinghan. Her fingertips trembled as dragon might circulated. Yi Qinghan shook his head. For such a girl, no matter how strong she was, It would be difficult for her to display the might of her dragon bloodline. Her personality was too soft, too weak, and not suitable for battle. It was better for her to be a good girl at home and go out to gain experience. She might be whole when she left, but she might never return. Giving her essence blood would be harming her. Sorry, let's talk about this later. Yi Qinghan tactfully declined. Aya, you're so handsome and strong. Why bother with a portion of essence blood? I'm willing to exchange a divine artifact for it. Shui Yuna wrapped herself around Yi Qinghan's arm, almost shamelessly sticking to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan wanted to pull his arm away, but Shui Yuna wouldn't let go. Instead, she pressed down on Yi Qinghan's arm with a mountain peak, making him not dare to move. The scene was extremely explosive. Yishan Jing and the others covered their mouths and snickered. Seeing the incomparably powerful Yi Qinghan at a loss, they couldn't stop laughing. Tuoba Xianxian walked over. Seeing the women surrounding Yi Qinghan, she actually felt a little jealous, but she quickly restrained herself. Chapter 791. When Tuoba Xianxian saw her friends pestering Yi Qinghan, she felt an inexplicable sourness in her heart. She didn't know why she felt this way. What are you doing? Tuoba Xianxian asked curiously. Yi Qinghan didn't know whether to move or not. Shui Yuner is a forthright but scheming bitch. She grasped Yi Qinghan's weakness and stuck her body close to him. It seems that she won't give up until Long Ling gets what she wants. Xianxian, this guy's bloodline is a dragon bloodline, much higher than Ling Er's. I can't even buy some essence blood from him. Say something and beg for mercy. This is related to Ling Er's future. Shui Yuner almost clamped her legs around Yi Qinghan, for fear that he would suddenly run away. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. He was afraid of hurting her and losing his grace. However, Shui Yuner's hot peaks were sticking so close to him. That softness was indeed comfortable, but it was too strange. Sister Yuner, forget it. Don't make things difficult for young Master Yi. Long Ling looked at Shui Yuner's shameless appearance and felt that she was making things difficult for her. This is the first time she has stuck to a man like this. It's obviously for her sake. No, why are you so disappointing? If you get the dragon essence blood, you can awaken the dragon bloodline in your body. Why don't you fight for it? It's not like you'll lose face. We're not trying to seduce you with beauty. We're buying. Shui Yuner said seriously. Isn't this a forced purchase? Girls, if you want the essence blood, you have to. The divine bird rushed out, but before it could finish speaking, it was slapped back by Yi Qinghan. Brother Qinghan, these are my best friends. They don't have any malice. If possible, I can guarantee that Ling will refine it in my room and won't leak your essence blood. Is that okay? Tuoba Xianxian looked at Shui Yuner's attitude and could only helplessly plead. Yi Qinghan could only nod and agree. The divine bird is spouting nonsense. Fairies, please don't take it to heart. The blood essence isn't that valuable, but it concerns my safety. If fellow Taoist dragon spirit refines it on the spot and completely fuses with it, I won't be unreasonable. Indeed, Xuanxuan's words are the most effective. TSK. I've already pestered you to this extent, but you're still not moved. Sigh, am I that ugly? Shui Yuner hugged Yi Qinghan's arm with both hands and clamped Yi Qinghan's thigh between her legs. She stared at Yi Qinghan and pretended to be aggrieved as she asked. Tuoba Xianxian was overjoyed. Since Yi Qinghan could change his attitude because of her, it meant that he had some influence. Yi Qinghan could only smile bitterly. Fellow Taoist, please come down first. I will agree. Really? Shui Yuner's eyes widened and she asked excitedly. Really, absolutely. Yi Qinghan guaranteed. Only then did Shui Yuner let go of Yi Qinghan in satisfaction. The dragon spirit excitedly bowed and said, "Many thanks for young Master Ye's help. As long as young Master has a request, I will agree to any request. Forget it. As long as you refine a drop of blood essence, it's not a big deal to me. A pill can make up for it. Don't worry about it." Yi Qinghan mobilized his divine power and forced out a drop of blood essence that radiated divine light. It was filled with the majesty of a dragon, as if it was alive and had its own soul. Then, he sent it to the dragon spirit. At this moment, everyone looked over, attracted by that drop of blood essence. Dragon blood essence isn't so easy to obtain, especially in this day and age where dragons have long disappeared. This bloodline can only be found in some ancient dragon clan collateral inheritances that occasionally give birth to some pure dragon bloodline. However, it isn't a true dragon bloodline and is far less pure than Yi Qinghan's dragon blood. However, Yi Qinghan's blood essence still can't be considered dragon blood. Xianyuan Ao of the Xianyuan family walked over and asked faintly, "Fellow Taoist Yi, I wonder if you can sell me a portion of your blood essence?" "Sorry, I won't sell it again." Yi Qinghan firmly refused. If the dragon spirit wasn't an inheritance of the dragon clan, he wouldn't have given it to her no matter what. Yi Qinghan looked at the blood essence in the dragon spirit's hand and said in a deep voice, "Please refine it. You can't take it away, or I will take it back." Tuoba Xianxian brought the dragon spirit into her boudoir and watched her refine it with her own eyes. This can also be considered as an explanation to Yi Qinghan. The pure dragon blood flowed on the dragon spirit's fingertips and actually seeped into her body through her skin. It turned into countless rays of divine light that rushed throughout her entire body, triggering the dragon bloodline genes in her body and continuously expanding outwards. Genes are really too rare. If it wasn't for the pure dragon blood essence, she wouldn't have been able to awaken the dragon bloodline. The genes in the dragon spirit's body exploded and flowed in all directions, breaking through her skin. Messy blood rushed out of her body and the blood cells began to produce new blood, replacing the impure blood with new blood. The dragon genes were stimulated by Yi Qinghan's blood essence. More and more genes were stimulated and replicated. The dragon genes appeared to be explosively filling the dragon spirit's body. The speed at which the blood cells were producing blood far exceeded the speed at which she was bleeding. The dragon blood boiled. The dragon spirit's physical body couldn't withstand such a strong impact at all. She couldn't help but groan and frown, but she still gritted her teeth and persevered. Sweat kept dripping from her forehead as her entire body was bathed in a river of blood. The powerful dragon blood began to transform her physical body. Her physical body was constantly being torn apart and reformed. The dragon aura in her body began to burst forth. This was the true aura of a dragon. "Ah!" the dragon spirit screamed. This heart-wrenching pain was unbearable. It was her first time refining her body, and it was passive. It was normal that she couldn't withstand it. Not many people could shatter their physical body and rebuild it like Yi Qinghan. Tuoba Xianxian frowned. She could see that the dragon spirit's pain was beyond her limit. The dragon bloodline was too powerful and shouldn't appear in the dragon spirit's body. Yi Qinghan didn't give it to her because he considered this point. Hua Tuoba Xianxian opened the door and said to Yi Qinghan, "Fellow Taoist Yi, can you come in and help? Ling Er's physical body might not be able to withstand the dragon bloodline." "I don't know much about the dragon bloodline." Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and entered the room. He saw the dragon spirit clenching her teeth and persevering. Her teeth were even biting into her lips. It was obvious how determined she was to activate the dragon bloodline. "Relax, I'll help you. You just need to stay true to your heart." Yi Qinghan tapped the dragon spirit's forehead and sent the soul-suppressing pearl into her spiritual sea to ensure that her soul was highly awake. At least, her soul wouldn't die. With the soul-suppressing pearl, the dragon spirit's spiritual sea was clear. She was no longer drowsy. She opened her eyes and nodded gratefully. She said in a hoarse voice, "Thank you, young master." Yi Qinghan took the initiative to help the dragon spirit defend and prevent her body from exploding. The dragon bloodline was too powerful. It was so powerful that Yi Qinghan had to use all his strength to stabilize this unformed dragon bloodline. "Miss Xianxian, please guard the door. Don't let anyone in." Yi Qinghan clenched his teeth and shook his god power. He directly tore all the clothes on the dragon spirit's body, revealing a perfect body. Tuoba Xuanxuan's expression changed. If she didn't know Yi Qinghan's character, she would even think that Yi Qinghan was deliberately taking advantage of her. However, she knew that Yi Qinghan wouldn't do this just to see the dragon spirit's body. As long as he wanted it, there would be many people who would take the initiative to take off their clothes. Yi Qinghan poured out his god power and protected the surroundings. He started to reconstruct the dragon spirit's physical body from her heart. The fire origin wrapped around the two of them. Tuoba Xuanxuan's room started to burn. Chapter 792. In one of the Tuoba family's courtyards, flames rose into the sky as the formation was activated. Divine light shone brightly. Tuoba Xianxian persuaded everyone to leave, leaving only Shui Yuner and herself in the courtyard. The fire in the house burned for a day and a night. A giant dragon's god might was gradually rising. Its aura was terrifying, suppressing the entire Tuoba family. It even alerted the cultivators in Tuoba City. This was the aura of a true chaos dragon. It hadn't truly formed yet, but it was already rushing out in all directions. In an instant, it broke through the defense of Tuoba main city and rushed towards Qingshan continent. It was as though a true chaos dragon was awakening. Jiuxiao spacetime caused the river to reverse. Yin and Yang appeared, and the divine phoenix's shadow soared. Tuoba Quangjuan, Tuoba Jiuxiao, and the other half-step lords rushed out. They wanted to enter to investigate, but they were stopped by Tuoba Xianxian. "What's going on? This is a giant dragon's aura. Why is it inside the Tuoba family?" Tuoba Jiuxiao asked in a deep voice. "It's the dragon spirit. The genes in its body have been activated by Yi Qinghan. It's rebuilding its golden body now, and it should be done soon. The two of you should go in later. If you interrupt the transformation, all your efforts will be in vain," Tuoba Xianxian explained. "The range is too wide. It'll attract powerhouses to fight for the giant dragon's origin. Quangjuan, activate the family's defense formation. Forbid any half-step lords from entering the Tuoba family." Tuoba Jiuxiao's expression changed. Although he was an ultimate old monster, the Chaos Dragon's aura had shaken his body out of control. His chi and blood stagnated, and greed flashed through his eyes. Tuoba Quangjuan quickly left the courtyard and headed outside. He activated the outermost defense formation, followed by the Chaos Ancient formation inside. He activated the formation at all costs. "Where's Yi Qinghan?" Tuoba Jiuxiao asked. "He's helping her rebuild her body. He has the dragon tribe's bloodline too. Although it's not a giant dragon's bloodline, it's second only to a giant dragon. His bloodline is pure. He's the only one who knows how to rebuild a dragon's body," Tuoba Xianxian replied. "I've informed Uncle Long and my father. They should be here soon," Shui Yuner said in a deep voice when she saw Tuoba Jiuxiao's strange expression. Tuoba Jiuxiao's expression changed. If he wanted the dragon's origin, he would have to leave Yi Qinghan behind. Could the Tuoba family really resist the joint attack of Divine Tool Sect, Long family, and Shui family? Moreover, the aura of the giant dragon bloodline's origin had already leaked out. Soon, there would be experts coming to snatch the origin. When that time came, the Tuoba family would not only be facing the three major forces, but the entire world. At this moment, the giant dragon bloodline origin inheritance was definitely not a good thing. It was a hot potato. Whoever caught it would be unlucky. Within 3 days, there would definitely be some old monsters gathering outside the Tuoba family. Reason prevailed over greed. His last bit of clarity told Tuoba Jiuxiao that he could not participate in the fight for the primal chaos dragon's origin for now. He had to wait for an opportunity. Even if he obtained the primal chaos dragon's origin now, he would need hundreds of years to refine it. Inside the room, Yi Qinghan and the dragon spirit were submerged in the fire origin. Yi Qinghan did not expect that a drop of essence blood would be able to awaken the dragon spirit's primal chaos dragon's origin inheritance. Perhaps the dragon spirit had a lot of hidden giant dragon genes. This was the only explanation. Yi Qinghan knew his limits. He could not use a drop of essence blood to create a primal chaos dragon. Otherwise, the world would fight over him and he would be torn apart. The dragon spirit's soul was still conscious at this moment. The soul-suppressing pearl had played a great role. Although it was still very painful, Yi Qinghan had blocked off most of the meridians and veins, preventing the pain from reaching the dragon spirit's brain. After an entire day and night, he had only managed to create half of the dragon spirit's body. The giant dragon bloodline did not allow for carelessness. The slightest mistake could lead to a huge difference. If he wasted more time now, the dragon spirit's strength would be closer to the primal chaos dragon's. The dragon spirit did not have any privacy. She was like a person created by Yi Qinghan, and Yi Qinghan was her creator. Her body was naked. At first, she was a little shy. Her breasts were in full view. Her flat stomach, sparkling legs, and arms were filled with dragon blood. The dragon's aura spread out, stimulating the dragon's aura in Yi Qinghan's body. Their blood roared at high speed, and the power of qi and blood exploded, shattering the room. Tuoba Xianxian and the rest all left the courtyard and waited quietly for the primal chaos dragon to be born. Half a day later, Tuoba Quangjuan came to report that the Shui family's head, Shui Wuhan, and the Long family's head, Long Tsanghai, had all arrived at the Tuoba family's city gate. Tuoba Jiuxiao hesitated for a moment and said with a hoarse voice, "Let them in. Pass down the order. Everyone is to prepare for battle. From today onwards, no one is allowed to leave the Tuoba family. Anyone who enters has to get my permission." "I don't think that's necessary. Once her body is formed, let Long Tsanghai take the dragon spirit away immediately. This hot potato can't be left in the Tuoba family. We don't need to participate in the battle between the two factions of chaos." Tuoba Quangjuan frowned and reminded, "I'm afraid it's too late. Once her body is formed, peerless experts will come." "I don't know if the overgods will appear, but there will be many people with cultivation like mine." Tuoba Jiuxiao understood the value of the primal chaos dragon's origin. Even if he did not have the dragon bloodline, he would be a giant dragon as long as he refined it. A primal chaos dragon, one of the overgods. The quintessence of a overgod was not cultivated, but gathered from the origin. A giant dragon's origin could create a overgod's quintessence. This origin was too terrifying. Among the 10 great physiques, except for the first 2 and the 9 revolution chaos Tao body, the others were only overgods. However, a primal chaos dragon was a overgod. After the first generation primal chaos dragon died, the quintessence dissipated and turned into an inheritance of the quintessence. Once it was gathered again, it would gradually condense again as the dragon spirit's realm rose. In the entire Chaosverse, there were only 21 overgods. No matter how strong someone was, they would not be able to condense a quintessence. They could only obtain a overgod's quintessence by fighting for it. Tuoba Quangjuan had no choice but to go to the periphery and lure Long Tsanghai and Shui Wuhan in. Long Tsanghai was a majestic man in his 40s. He was tall and sturdy, with a square face and ink-black hair. He must have been a peerless hero when he was young, but now he was very nervous. Tuoba family head, what's going on? How could Ling awaken the giant dragon's bloodline origin? Long Songhai was very nervous, fearing that Shui Yuner would misunderstand. It's Yi Qinghan. He's the one who stimulated the dragon genes hidden in the dragon spirit's body. By chance, he unlocked the dragon bloodline's origin. He's currently in the process of forming his body. Just wait for a while. However, this old man will tell you in advance that once the formation is complete, you must take her and flee as far as possible. You must not let the experts find you. Abandoning the Long family is imperative. You can dismiss the Long family right now and let them join a family or power you can trust, Tuoba Jiuxiao said in a low voice. Long Songhai understood how terrifying the primal chaos dragon's origin was. It represented the inheritance of the first-generation primal chaos dragon. It would be light if the entire clear god continent was caught in the flames of war. If this spread to the upper planes, the Sisui continent would definitely be destroyed. Chapter 793. After confirming that dragon spirit had indeed awakened the Chaos Dragon bloodline, Long Songhai cried tears of joy. This was the only time in his life that he would cry. After a long time, he finally calmed down and remembered Yi Qinghan. He asked, "Who is Yi Qinghan? How come I've never heard of this name?" Shui Wuhan rolled her eyes and coldly said, "I really don't know what kind of family head you are. Why don't you care about current affairs at all? Didn't Divine Tool sect announce that they had accepted a young honorary deacon? Isn't that Yi Qinghan?" "Yes, it's him. He has a very pure dragon bloodline in his body. Although it's not a dragon bloodline, his bloodline may be even purer than your dragon bloodline. It was a drop of his blood essence that stimulated the dragon bloodline source in Sister Ling Er's body." Shui Yuner quickly said. "This old man really has to thank him. He changed the Long family's fate and changed the Long family's situation. Where is he?" Long Songhai asked excitedly. "Uncle Long, he is helping Ling to form a golden dragon body. Ling Er's body is too weak. I can't help her, so I can only ask him." Tuoba Xianxian bowed. "Ling is so lucky to have friends like you. But can this Yi Qinghan be trusted? What if he takes the opportunity?" Long Songhai asked awkwardly. "Don't worry, he is my friend. I trust him. Besides, this giant dragon bloodline origin was awakened by him. Even if he takes it away, you shouldn't say anything," Tuoba Xianxian said in a deep voice. She couldn't bear to see others not trusting Yi Qinghan. Long Songhai smiled. Within the flames, Yi Qinghan and dragon spirit's blood actually fused through their skin. Yi Qinghan's essence blood was also evolving. Perhaps there was a cause and effect. This was the great Tao of karma. With effort comes reward. The two's bloodlines were connected. Yi Qinghan closed his eyes and felt his blood rapidly evolving into a giant dragon bloodline. Even without the Chaos Dragon bloodline origin, it is still a level stronger than before. Boom, boom, boom. His blood roared and boiled like 10,000 horses galloping. His black hair fluttered without wind. Yi Qinghan pressed his palms against his massive chest. He found it difficult to control his hands, but his heart was as calm as still water. He didn't have any evil thoughts as he continued to help the dragon spirit forge its body. After 2 days, he began to forge its head, the dragon's brain. This was the most difficult stage. If he wasn't careful, he could destroy Long Ling's physical body, crush her godhead, and kill her soul. The golden dragon godhead formed on its own. It was completely different from other godheads. It had its own profound laws and great Tao. Its veins and patterns were also fundamentally different from Yi Qinghan's dragon godhead. As for the specific effects, only the dragon spirit knew. put your soul into your dragon godhood and don't let it out. No matter what happens, just stay in there quietly. Yi Qinghan opened his eyes, looked directly at the dragon spirit, and spoke in a low voice. The dragon spirit's life was now completely in Yi Qinghan's hands. She trusted him, and felt that no one could make her safer than Yi Qinghan. Once she put her soul into the dragon godhead and ignored the outside world, it was the same as handing her body over to Yi Qinghan. No matter what he did, she wouldn't know until Yi Qinghan woke her up. But she didn't hesitate to do so. As soon as her soul entered the dragon godhead, the dragon spirit fell into a deep sleep. Yi Qinghan carefully modified every meridian, cell, and even a strand of hair in the dragon spirit's head. The brain was the most fragile part. Yi Qinghan even gave up on evolving his own blood and focused on strengthening her brain. He didn't make any changes, only strengthening it over and over again. With the slightest change, the dragon spirit wouldn't be able to control her body. After 3 whole days, the dragon spirit's body was finally completed. Yi Qinghan's godhead was almost completely exhausted. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan waved his hand, and the surrounding flames rushed into the clouds, enveloping the two of them. Put on your clothes. First, comprehend the inheritance the Chaos bloodline gave you. With that, Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged on the ground and began to absorb the God Force within the God crystals. He recovered his God Force while evolving his bloodline. But without contact with the dragon spirit, the bloodline's evolution was too slow. It was so slow that it was negligible. Yi Qinghan could only swallow a large number of God pills to recover his God Force. He wasted hundreds of God pills and thousands of top-grade God crystals to fill up the 12 Godheads. Getting up, Yi Qinghan found the dragon spirit wearing a purple robe staring at him. Her eyes were very pure, without any distracting thoughts. There was only deep gratitude. "Raise your hands and face me," Yi Qinghan said calmly. The dragon spirit didn't ask. She stretched out her jade arms and spread her slender fingers slightly. She didn't know what Yi Qinghan wanted to do. Yi Qinghan's large hands clasped the dragon spirit's 10 fingers and took the initiative to absorb the dragon blood in her body. He found that it was still unimpeded, as if this body was his. The dragon spirit was shocked to find that her blood was actually under Yi Qinghan's control. However, she was not afraid. If Yi Qinghan wanted to harm her, he could have crushed her to death with a stretch of his hand. There was no need for him to waste so much time and specially create a body for her. With the support of the Chaos Dragon bloodline, Yi Qinghan's blood evolved rapidly. It successfully evolved into a colossal dragon bloodline that was second only to the Chaos Dragon bloodline. His physical body was refined again, and his cultivation base stabilized at perfect intermediate high god level. He was only a hair's breadth away from high god level and could break through at any time. The outer walls of the Tuoba residence had collapsed, and the flames of war were everywhere. There were at least 30 half-step lords in the vicinity, but they could not do anything to the inner walls of the Tuoba residence. Rainbow runes emanated from the inner walls like divine weapons. As long as the enemy attacked, the runes would counterattack. However, the Tuoba residence on the outer perimeter was completely annihilated. Tuoba Jiuxiao was livid. The current situation was not much different from what he had imagined. Although the outer formation was powerful, it could not withstand the attacks of so many half-step lords. Most of them were strangers. He had no idea where so many half-step lords had come from. There were also some half-step lords from Sisui continent. They were either clan masters, sect masters, or terrifying independent cultivators. They wandered around the Tuoba residence's outer perimeter fearlessly. Their motives were self-evident. It was impossible to hide the colossal dragon bloodline's origin. After the dragon spirit bloodline was activated, the origin's might had already spread. Tuoba Jiuxiao, Open the city gates and hand her over. I won't make things difficult for the Tuoba family." An old man who had been through the vicissitudes of life had the demeanor of a transcendent being. He seemed amiable, but he was ruthless when it came to killing. If he had not been worried about incurring public wrath, he might have razed the Tuoba main city to the ground, let alone the Tuoba family's collateral forces. Tuoba Jiuxiao's face turned purple. If he opened the city gates now, not only would he offend the Shui and Long clans, but he would also benefit these bastards. They had killed millions of collateral clan members. "You bastards, you've razed my clan's collateral clan without even asking. Now you're asking me to open the city gates. Do you think there's no one left in the Tuoba bloodline? I'll protect this colossal dragon bloodline for sure. I'll guarantee her safety for the rest of her life. She'll avenge my clan." Tuoba Jiuxiao roared fiercely, enraged. Long Songhai only breathed a sigh of relief after Tuoba Jiuxiao declared his stance. If Tuoba Jiuxiao could not withstand the pressure and kicked him and Long Songhai out of the Tuoba residence, he alone would not be able to protect Long Songhai no matter what. Yi Qinghan had no idea that Long Songhai's bloodline possessed the origin of the first-generation Chaos Colossal Dragon, nor did he know that he had attracted countless powerhouses at the moment. He also did not know that An Xian had told Juin Fort's chief manager, who was his father, about him activating Long Songhai's dragon spirit bloodline. His father had even gathered several half-step lords to descend on the Tuoba residence's outer perimeter. Chapter 794. The Tuoba family was in trouble. Powerhouses were everywhere, and no one dared to speak unless they were half-step lords. Yi Qinghan and Long Ling arrived at the city wall and looked at the collapsed perimeter. Countless powerhouses had descended upon the city, and a primeval aura filled the air as if an era had arrived. Half-step lords were everywhere, and they were shocked. After Tuoba Xuanxuan's explanation, Yi Qinghan finally understood that what he had activated was not some colossal dragon bloodline, but an existence with the Chaos Colossal Dragon's origin. Perhaps no one would dare to touch her if she was in Defiant Clouds. Unfortunately, she was born in the wrong family. She was born in the Long family, and the Long family could not protect her. Gradually, almost all the powerhouses of Sisui Dimension had arrived, including the sect master of Divine Weapon Sect. Even the factions from the Chaos era began to appear. The Witch Tribes faction and the Great Demon Gods faction were low-level existences, but they were still very powerful in this era. Tuoba Quangjuan looked at Tuoba Jiuxiao, hoping that he would change his mind. The Tuoba family should not have interfered in this matter at all. The price was too high. There was still room for negotiation now. As long as Long Songhai and Long Ling were expelled, the Tuoba family could stay out of this. However, was there really any room for retreat now? Once the city gates were opened and the formation defense was abandoned, these powerhouses could raze this ancient giant city to the ground in an instant. Boom! There was a loud bang, and a figure sped over from afar. He reached out and suppressed a half-step lord, crushing his body. Even his godhead could not escape. Hiss! Everyone gasped and turned to look at the newcomer. The newcomer was a middle-aged man in a cloud robe with a cloud embroidered on his shoulder. The cloud was even drifting as if it was real. It was impossible for anyone who had been in Sisui Dimension for many years not to recognize this person. He was a high-ranking member of Defiant Clouds, the #1 organization in Sisui Dimension. This person was called Enai Shueyun, and he was ranked 3rd in Defiant Cloud. On the surface, he was also ranked 5th in Sisui Dimension. One could imagine how many powerhouses Defiant Clouds had hidden. Enai Shueyun looked down at everyone, and his eyes swept across the crowd. A disdainful sneer appeared at the corner of his lips as he said coldly, "Do you think the Chaos Colossal Dragon's bloodline origin is something that children like you can meddle with? Get lost." The pressure was monstrous as Enai Shui Yun's aura rushed out in defiance of the heavens, sweeping through all the heroes in the heavens. Even Yi Qinghan, who was standing on the city wall and protected by the array formation, felt the pressure multiply. This was the first time Yi Qinghan had seen such an expert. Perhaps it was because Nine Nether had never been angry, otherwise, he would have been able to feel the same pressure. However, no one retreated. Not a single person retreated. It wasn't that they didn't want to give an Ai Shuiyun face, nor was it that they didn't want to give an Ai Yunduan face. It was just that the primal Chaos Dragon's origin involved too many things. It involved the war between the sorcerer race and the great demonic god's bloodline. It even involved the supreme godhead. Just Enai Yunduan's top 3 experts weren't enough to suppress these people. This matter has nothing to do with you, Enai Yunyun. Enai Yunyun, don't get involved in the war between the witch tribe and the great demonic god's bloodline. Otherwise, the tyrannical Enai Yunyun will be annihilated in an instant. It was at this moment that the old master of divine artifact sect stepped forward. His aura was no weaker than Enai Shuiyun's. True experts were beginning to show themselves. Enai Shuiyun frowned. Divine artifact sect didn't show itself, but no one dared to offend them. Even Enai Yunyun had to give them face because in the Chaos era, Divine Artifact sect was at its peak. As the saying went, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. No matter how far it had fallen, it wasn't something that the forces of this era could provoke. This is no longer the Chaos era. I and I Yun have the final say in Sisui realm, said Enai Shuiyun coldly. The battle physique is about to appear, and the Chaos era is coming. If you take action today, it means that Enai Yunyun is participating in the war between the two factions. When the time comes, it doesn't matter whether you take sides or not. You'll just be cannon fodder. Everything I say is true. Believe me or not, but if you insist on interfering, I won't say anything more, said the old master calmly. Many people were disdainful. What kind of force could annihilate Enai Yunyun, who was at the peak of his power? Perhaps only these decadent clans would dare to say such frightening words because of their ancient heritage. Enai Yunyun laughed evilly. Of course, he did not believe it either. However, Yi Qinghan believed him, because he had seen the second sorcerer god before. Although he did not understand this level of combat, he knew that compared to the second sorcerer god, killing these people was as easy as waving his hand. I, Enai Yunduan, will not give up on the Chaos Dragon origin. In 2 days, my first elder and second elder will appear at the same time. If you don't agree, you can try. I want to see what kind of power can annihilate me, Enai Yunduan. Enai Shuiyun didn't argue with the old sect master, but didn't care about his words either. I'm Daoist Jiushan. I've lived in the Sisui realm for so many years, spanning several eras. How can I only talk big? I've seen too many master gods hiding everywhere, waiting for the right opportunity. How many master gods can you have in the anti-cloud realm? Daoist Jiushan sighed. How many overgods had come to Divine Artifact sect in order to forge overgod weapons? How many overgods had chosen to lie low and wait for chaos to descend? And how many overgods had fought in the dark without the mortals seeing? Ants would never see a master god fighting because they weren't qualified. They were mocking the existence of such an existence. Ignorance made people brave. Apart from the lofty master gods, Daoist Jiushan was the only one who truly understood the world. Not even 9 Nether could reach that level because master gods needed Divine Artifact sect to forge overgod weapons. Even if Divine Artifact sect couldn't forge overgod weapons right now, master gods wouldn't offend them. They would even protect Divine Artifacts Sect because Divine Artifacts Sect would be able to forge overgod weapons sooner or later. A Master God without a Master God weapon was definitely no match for a Master God who had one. A Master God weapon could increase a Master God's strength by 50%. 50% was unimaginable. No matter how profound a Master God's understanding of the profound laws or the origin of the Great Tao was, they couldn't exceed 50% of a Master God's combat power. There was no difference between Master Gods and Master Gods. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. Everyone, as long as you give me face and let me take the dragon spirit, Divine Artifacts Sect will owe you a favor in the future. Taoist Jiushan said in a low voice. On the surface, Divine Artifacts Sect was the representative of the Sorcerer Gods faction. They had the right to make such a promise. Ha ha! Old Taoist Jiushan, you're not dead yet. As long as I'm here today, you won't be able to take the dragon spirit away. She must die here. Moreover, her origin will be destroyed. Whoosh! A black shadow covered the sky. His might was so great that some of the half-step lords were forced to retreat. Another invincible expert had arrived. Even Ni Shuiyun's expression changed at this moment. He had thought that he could really be ranked in the top 5 of Si Shui, but 2 people who could stand shoulder to shoulder with him had appeared in an instant. Demon Fiend was the representative of the great demonic gods faction. As long as he and Taoist Jiushan didn't emerge victorious, the master gods behind them wouldn't appear. Taoist Jiushan sighed. He knew that today's matter couldn't be resolved peacefully. If he had come earlier to take the dragon spirit away, he might have been able to protect her and the Chaos Dragon bloodline origin. However, it was very difficult now. Yi Qinghan's expression turned extremely ugly as well. He hadn't expected that chaos would come before he had even grown up. Tuoba Jiuxiao regretted his participation in this matter. The Tuoba family couldn't take it anymore and finally compromised. He said to the crowd, "As long as you retreat 1,500 kilometers away from the Tuoba family's main city, I'll send the 2 from the Long family and Yi Qinghan out of the city. The Tuoba family won't interfere in your quarrels. If you don't compromise, then let's just wait. I believe that the Tuoba family's primordial city can withstand all of your combined attacks for at least 3 years. Chapter 795. When Tuoba Jiuxiao decided not to participate, the 5 elders of the Tuoba family stood in a row, hoping that Long Songhai and Shui Wuhan would respect the Tuoba family's decision. Tuoba Xuanxuan's expression changed slightly, and she begged softly, "Grandpa, this has nothing to do with Yi Qinghan. You don't understand. Yi Qinghan can activate the Chaos Dragon's bloodline origin, so he'll be the target of both camps. There's no difference between keeping him and keeping Dragon Spirit. Don't gamble with your family's legacy," Tuoba Jiuxiao said firmly. Although Long Songhai could understand Tuoba Jiuxiao's decision, if it were him, he would not give up his family's legacy for another tribe's top genius. The city wall would fall sooner or later, so there was no difference whether it fell sooner or later. "Yi Qinghan, I'm sorry for dragging you into this," Long Songhai said with a bitter smile. Yi Qinghan shook his head. Everything in the world had karma. If it weren't for his benevolence, the blood in Long Ling's body wouldn't have been stimulated. However, everything had its own will. 2 people who shouldn't have crossed paths had bumped into each other. This was an illusory fate. "It's all right. Let's leave it to fate," Yi Qinghan said calmly. Perhaps he was the only one who could remain so calm in the face of so many powerhouses. Shui Wuhan's expression was terrible, and she said with a bitter smile, "Brother Songhai, please forgive me for my selfishness. I can't accompany you out of the city today. However, if you die in battle, I can at least preserve some of the Long family's bloodline. We won't be wiped out. That's enough, please. Long Songhai was very grateful. This promise was better than Shui Wuhan going out with him to his death. Two half-step lords who could not even make it into the rankings would definitely die if they went out. They would not be able to do anything. Since Demon Fiend and Ni Shuiyun had agreed to retreat, Daoist Jiushan could only agree. Now, they could only wait for the two main characters, Yi Qinghan and Long Ling, to appear. One side would fight while the other would kill. Once Demon Fiend succeeded, this battle might end prematurely. If Daoist Jiushan succeeded, it would be an endless pursuit. All the experts retreated 3,000 miles away from the main city. The reason why Tuoba Jiuxiao wanted to maintain this distance was clearly not to buy time for Yi Qinghan, but to give the Tuoba family time to activate the defensive formation again. Yi Qinghan, Long Ling, and Long Songhai appeared at the city gate and waited for it to open. Long Songhai instantly became much older. He looked at Long Ling helplessly, stroked her head, and said in pain, "Ling it's all Father's fault for not being able to protect you." Long Ling felt a lump in her throat. She regretted asking Yi Qinghan for his blood essence. However, she had only hoped to become stronger and protect the Long family. She had never thought that she would bring the Long family to eternal damnation. "Father, I'm sorry. I didn't know things would turn out this way." Although Long Ling possessed the Chaos Dragon bloodline origin, she had yet to cultivate the secret skill inheritance. Her ability was too weak, and she had little combat experience. At the moment, her physique was even worse than an ordinary person's. She was helpless in this situation. Long Songhai turned his head to look at Yi Qinghan. His fingertips were trembling as he said hoarsely, "Yi Qinghan, seeing how calm you are, you must have a way to protect yourself. I'm willing to sacrifice myself to buy you 5 breaths of time. Please take Ling with you and escape. The great demon god's representative won't let you go anyway. You'll still be escaping if you run, so taking Ling with you shouldn't affect your speed. Is that okay?" Self-destruction. He had said it without hesitation and was not afraid of death. This was the great love of a father. He only hoped that Long Ling would have a glimmer of hope to escape. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. The reason why he was so calm was that he knew there was no hope, so he faced it calmly. Faced with so many powerhouses, unless he was a half-step lord, there was no way he could escape at all. Why should he put on a useless and pitiful act? "I'm not confident. Whether I take Long Ling or not, it won't affect me at all. However, I know that my chances of escaping are less than 10%. It might even be less than 10%. At most there's only a 1% chance," Yi Qinghan said helplessly. "Having hope is better than having no hope at all. I'll self-destruct to create a gap for you and give you another chance. I only ask that you don't give up on Ling life unless you have no other choice. Is that okay?" Long Songhai pleaded in a low voice. "Sure. I told you that taking her with me won't affect my speed. As long as I can escape, she won't die," Yi Qinghan agreed with a nod. "Daddy. Sob, what should I do? I don't want you to die. I don't want you to self-destruct. If you're gone, who's going to love me?" Long Ling cried bitterly. She held on to Long Songhai tightly and refused to let go. "You have the Chaos Dragon bloodline. You're a Chaos Dragon now. You should be strong and try your best to survive. Avenge me and your people. Do you understand?" Long Songhai said in a low voice. Yi Qinghan said nothing. Instead, he tapped the back of Long Ling's neck with a finger directly. She fainted right away and fell into his arms. He picked up the seemingly boneless Long Ling and said softly, "Rest in peace, Senior. If I manage to escape, naturally, it's because your self-destruction has given me a chance to live. I can't promise you anything else, but at least I can keep her safe for the rest of her life." Thank you. Long Tsunghai bowed deeply. Creak, the city gate opened. There was only a small gap, which was enough for two people to walk side by side. Long Tsunghai and Yi Qinghan stepped out of the Tuoba residence's city gate together with Long Ling. The city gate closed immediately, and the formation activated immediately, leaving them no room at all. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan placed Long Ling on his back and tied her to his back with the God-whipping whip. He held Berserk in his hand and summoned the Golden Crow. He said in a low voice, "Prepare for battle. Today I'm going to burn 80,000 miles and kill anyone who gets in my way." The little Golden Crow had broken through. It had devoured the fire spirit and successfully mastered a rank 16 divine fire. That was a flame that could burn a half-step lord. Even Taoist Jiu Shan of the Divine Weapon sect could not master a rank 16 divine fire. One could only imagine the power of such a flame. This was the 10% chance that Yi Qinghan had mentioned. Yi Qinghan was augmented with a rank 16 fire origin. In addition to Long Tsunghai's self-destruction, their chances of escaping were increased to 20%. As long as they could break out of the encirclement, they would be free to fly. Then, they would begin a life of endless escape. They must not show themselves. This group of half-step lords was not like Zi Chongyun and the rest. They would not stand a chance at all. The two of them soared into the air and charged out of the main city, taking the initiative to charge forward. Nobody moved. They were surrounded by powerhouses everywhere. The three of them could not escape. Devilfiend was confident of this, so he did not move at all. Since Devilfiend did not move, Taoist Jiu Shan naturally would not move. Nishui Yun did not move either. They were all waiting. Basically, whoever made the first move now would be attacked by the group. Since this group of desperados had dared to snatch the Chaos Dragon's origin, they had not considered that both camps would want to go into hiding as soon as possible after obtaining the origin. They would only reappear after becoming lords. At that moment, a figure descended from the sky. This person wore a suit of golden battle armor and held a golden battle spear in his hand. Everyone gasped when he appeared because he was so young, just like an 18 or 19-year-old teenager. Most importantly, he was not among the top 5 of the younger generation in Sisui realm. Atlas Spear. He has the Atlas Combat Constitution. Taoist Jiu Shan blurted out. His expression changed drastically. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.